Chapter 260. A total of 200 horned dragon strength. One had to know that Muronyu only had the strength of 75 horned dragons when he was in the previous realm, which was the spirit severing stage. However, after breaking through to the body integration stage, his strength instantly increased to 200 dragon strength, which was equivalent to a threefold increase. His dragon strength had reached 200 horned dragon strength. On the surface, it seemed that he was only 3 times stronger than before. However, Muronyu knew that his strength was 100 times stronger than before, or even more. Just his physical body, which had reached the peak of the 9th grade spirit artifact level, was much stronger than an ordinary transformation stage cultivator. Generally, a transformation stage cultivator's physical body could be considered relatively strong if it could reach the level of a spirit artifact. Moreover, in the transformation stage, they would only have 99 strands of dragon strength at most, and definitely not 100. Of course, the amount of dragon strength did not necessarily mean that one was strong. Strength was not only the dragon strength, but also the strength of the physical body, various magic treasures, divine weapons, and even various cultivation methods. Strength was the overall combat strength of a cultivator. Moreover, even if it was only the dragon strength, it did not mean that the more dragon strength one had, the stronger one was. There were plenty of examples like this. Muronyu had already killed quite a few people with more draconic energy than him. Unfortunately, if Xuechan unleashed the power of an immortal, I would still not be his match. Muronyu muttered to himself. The stronger he was, the more he felt the terror of an immortal. Although he had already reached 200 horned dragon strength, which far exceeded the strength of an ordinary expert at the peak of the transformation stage. However, compared to an immortal, he was still insignificant. In front of an immortal, all those who had reached the immortal realm were ants. Even those who had reached a few hundred horned dragon strength were still ants. Just like mortals, they were just ants in front of cultivators. Even a cultivator in the foundation establishment stage could crush an ant with a flick of his finger. In front of an immortal, even a half-step immortal in the transformation stage was just a mortal, an ant. Xuechan was only the 3rd expert on the Dragon Phoenix list. The 1st and 2nd Little Rock King were definitely stronger. Moreover, with Xuechan's ability, Li Su and Little Rock King definitely had similar methods. The chief disciples, saints, and saintesses of the various sects also had all sorts of life-saving means. Muronyu pondered, but he did not become arrogant because of his sudden increase in strength. It was important to know one's own limits. I'm still no match for them. Muronyu sighed. He was smashed into the ground several dozen kilometers deep. Woof, woof, woof. Brat Murong, you actually dared to sneak attack, Lord Heavenly Dog. You've angered me, and I'll definitely eat you. Although the big black dog had been smashed deep into the ground, it was as if he hadn't been injured, and he was still barking energetically. Boom! The ground shattered, and the big black dog directly soared into the sky. During this process, he rose with the wind, and instantly became as large as a mountain, standing tall and majestic in the void. He fiercely opened his mouth, and like a black hole from outer space, he bit down on the void hundreds of kilometers in the void, and at the same time, he also viciously bit down on Muronyu. At the same time, the big black dog fiercely slapped down with his paw, shattering the void. It shattered the void, intending to smash Muronyu into meat paste. Muronyu laughed loudly, and then he used the troop's formula and disappeared from the spot as if he had teleported. Big black dog, take another punch of mine, 1,000 army elephant fist. Because Muronyu had disappeared into thin air, the big black dog was instantly enraged. His mouth bit down on empty air again, and this time he directly bit down on the void within a radius of several hundred kilometers, which was a 100,000 feet tall mountain. Moreover, his dog paw also forcefully smashed a distant mountain into smithereens. However, what angered him was that Muronyu had long since disappeared. There was a loud boom, and the large black dog instantly felt as if its back had been ruthlessly rammed by a huge mountain. Its mountain-like body was directly sent flying again. Pung! Like a mountain that had fallen from the sky, the big black dog was directly sent flying by Murong Yu, and directly crushed a mountain on the ground. Woof! 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 The big black dog was extremely enraged, and he soared into the sky again, wanting to attack Murong Yu. However, Murong Yu's speed was really too fast, and every time the big black dog attacked, he couldn't hit Murong Yu at all, and he was already far away from his original spot. Meanwhile, Murong Yu was punching and kicking him, and in just a few breaths' time, he had already bombarded the big black dog's head until it was buzzing, and he was extremely enraged. Woof, woof, woof! The big black dog barked furiously in displeasure, and at the same time he said, "Brat, if you have the ability, come and fight your Lord Heavenly Dog fair and square, and see if your Lord Heavenly Dog won't torture you to death." A strange expression appeared on Murong Yu's face. After the attack, just now, although he hadn't used his full strength, his punches had still hit the big black dog. If it had been an ordinary transformation stage cultivator, or even an existence on the level of half-step celestial, after being bombarded by so many punches, they would probably have been smashed into meat paste long ago. However, this big black dog was still as if nothing had happened. In terms of physical strength, it was definitely stronger than Murong Yu's. If he didn't use the yin-yang flame, even ordinary celestial tools wouldn't be able to cause any damage to the big black dog's body. This guy was a classic dog-shaped, godly weapon. In a critical moment, as long as he summoned the big black dog, it would definitely be more terrifying than ordinary celestial tools. This was because the big black dog could also automatically attack. The stronger the big black dog was, the more things he had eaten from Immortal Emperor Zhu Xian, and the more powerful the treasures in Immortal Emperor Zhu Xian's treasury were. Pung! 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 A series of loud sounds rang out continuously, and Murong Yu relied on the terrifying speed of the weapon seal to continuously send the big black dog flying. However, the big black dog still couldn't do anything to Murong Yu. Murong Yu didn't use his full strength, and he didn't use any godly weapons. However, this kind of battle where he could only take a beating without being able to reach his opponent made the big black dog very depressed. Woof! I don't want to fight anymore. Lord Heavenly Dog is very unhappy now, and I want to eat delicious food. The big black dog's figure swayed, and he returned to the appearance of a big wolf dog. He glared fiercely at Murong Yu, and then resentfully walked into the depths of the extreme heaven realm. Then, Murong Yu saw that everywhere the big black dog went, there would be chaos. Waves of angry roars rang out continuously, and these pitiful demonic beasts probably couldn't escape the big black dog's black mouth at all. Those who encountered the big black dog were probably eaten by him. Even if I'm not a match for an expert of Xue Chen's level, I should be able to put up a fight now. However, immortals are too powerful, and once the void is sealed, I won't even have the chance to enter the Hichu Luo Shu. Murong Yu frowned slightly, but soon relaxed. However, although the void is sealed, they can't teleport. Now, the weapon seal is even more terrifying than teleportation. It's impossible for Xue Chen to kill me with the immortal's aura. At the very least, because of the weapon seal, I'm in an invincible position. If I have other divine weapons and magic treasures, I might be able to put up a fight with Xue Chen. As for the others, even if I can't defeat them, I still have the power to put up a fight, and at least I'm in an invincible position. Now it's time to go to the cultivation world and settle the score with them. Murong Yu sneered, and just as he was about to enter the Hichu Luo Shu world, he suddenly stopped. Woof! 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 The big black dog's wild barking came from not far ahead. It seemed to be very angry and anxious. At the same time, waves of extremely terrifying fluctuations came from afar, and it was breathtaking. Could it be that the big black dog has met his match? Murong Yu frowned, and then flew in the direction of the sound. Chapter 261. Waves of terrifying power continuously spread over, accompanied by a series of angry roars and barks. The big black dog has met his match. Moronyu was curious, so he flew forward. Because he was going to pass the tribulation, he had already entered deep into the extreme heaven realm. There had always been powerful demonic beasts in the extreme heaven realm. This was a well-known fact. And the big black dog had most likely encountered some powerful demonic beasts. Moreover, it was very likely that they were demonic beast kings. Among the demon kings, the weakest one was on par with the sect masters of the cultivation world. And some powerful demonic beast kings were even more terrifying, such as the Lord of the Demon Mountain. Along the way, Moronyu saw that the ground was full of potholes, each of which was hundreds of miles wide and dozens of miles deep. The mountains that were originally standing on the ground were also sunk, and some were even partially smashed. There were also many huge footprints left on the ground. There were only dog paws. These should be the paws of the big black dog. And there was another huge footprint that Moronyu had not seen before. It should be the big black dog's opponent. Soon after, Moronyu approached the group. He only saw that in the distance, two huge mountain-like things were fighting. One was black, and the other was gold. The black one was undoubtedly the big black dog, and the golden one was a demonic beast that was the size of a mountain and was in the shape of an ape. At this moment, two incomparably powerful demonic beasts were engaged in an earth-shattering battle. Terrifying power continued to erupt, bombarding the void and destroying the earth. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The sun and moon lost their light. Moronyu did not immediately make a move, but only watched the two demonic beasts fight in the distance. The big black dog's strength was not to be doubted, especially its physical body, which was extremely terrifying. With a single paw, a mountain that was tens of thousands of feet tall was directly smashed into powder. The power was extremely terrifying, especially its huge mouth, which could swallow the sky and devour the earth. It could even bite off a large piece of the void. It was truly terrifying. During the course of the battle, the large black dog continuously barked loudly, and its large mouth continuously bit out, crunch, crunch, crunch. Large chunks of the void, as well as large mountains, were crushed and swallowed into its stomach. However, the golden ape-like demonic beast was not weak either. It was carrying a giant golden staff that looked like a pillar that supported the heavens. It roared continuously and struck out with the staff, smashing a terrifying crack that was over 100 miles wide in the void. His strength was truly extraordinary. The strength of the two sides were evenly matched. Although they had been fighting for half a day, and although both sides had attacked each other, there was still no clear victor. Morongyu's pupil shrank as he looked at the giant golden rod. It was neither a magic treasure nor a divine weapon. This was because Moronyu didn't sense any energy fluctuations from the giant staff. It was as skillful as an ordinary long stick. However, Moronyu knew that this golden staff was no ordinary staff. Not to mention an ordinary staff, even a low-grade spirit weapon would definitely not be able to withstand the power of the golden ape. Could it be a spirit treasure of heaven and earth? Morongyu's eyes instantly lit up. The divine weapons and magic treasures used by cultivators were usually refined by cultivators using various refining materials. They were all artificially created magic treasures and divine weapons. However, in this world, there was a type of magic treasure and divine weapon, a spirit treasure of heaven and earth. Spirit treasures of heaven and earth were not created by humans, but were naturally nurtured by heaven and earth. Some spirit treasures of heaven and earth had extremely terrifying power. However, although some spirit treasures of heaven and earth did not have any particularly terrifying power, and even looked the same as ordinary weapons, without any energy fluctuations. However, they could withstand incomparably huge power, just like the giant golden staff in the golden ape's hand. Moreover, this kind of extremely ordinary spirit treasure of heaven and earth had a special function. Woof! Gorilla, you've angered Lord Heavenly Dog. Your Lord Heavenly Dog will definitely eat you. Woof! In the battle, The large black dog spoke human language and roared angrily. Damn dog, I'm warning you again, don't call me gorilla. I'm a noblest fire-eyed golden ape. You really deserve to die. Today I'll definitely beat you flat with a stick, then feed you to the dogs. The fire-eyed golden ape roared angrily, and a stick struck out angrily, causing the sky to collapse and the earth to split open. Fire-eyed golden ape. Murong Yu was shocked and involuntarily looked at the fire-eyed golden ape's eyes. As expected, the fire-eyed golden ape's eyes were like burning flames. It really is the ancient mutated beast, the fire-eyed golden ape. Murong Yu became excited. The fire-eyed golden ape was the same as the heavenly dog. They were both ancient mutated beasts with terrifying battle prowess. According to legends, other than having terrifying battle prowess, the fire-eyed golden ape's eyes were also very terrifying. The fire-eyed golden ape's eyes could shoot out a terrifying flame. Although it was not as powerful as the yin-yang fire, it was still very terrifying. Once one was sprayed by the fire-eyed golden ape's flames, one's soul would be destroyed. However, what surprised Murong Yu was that this fire-eyed golden ape in front of him did not seem to be able to shoot fire. Because in the vicinity, Murong Yu did not see any traces of being burned by fire. Other than being able to shoot out terrifying flames, the fire-eyed golden ape also has a terrifying talent. It can see through all fabrications and see the source. It was unknown when, but Hichu had actually already walked out. You must subdue the fire-eyed golden ape. With it, it can reduce a lot of trouble in the future, Hichu said to Murong Yu solemnly. Murong Yu nodded, but then his brows furrowed slightly. The large black dog was easier to deal with because it was trapped in the immortal ending great formation and could not come out. Murong Yu broke the immortal ending great formation and promised to bring it away. Only then did the large black dog catch up with Murong Yu. However, this guy had always been arrogant and unruly, who asked Murong Yu to not have the ability to truly make it submit for the time being. The fire-eyed golden ape's strength was about the same as the large black dog's, and with Murong Yu's strength, it was definitely possible to kill it. However, it was very difficult to subdue it. This was the extreme heaven realm, the same as the large black dog trapped in the immortal ending great formation. If the fire-eyed golden ape wanted to leave this place, Murong Yu might be able to trick it. No matter what, Murong Yu wanted to subdue it. After pondering for a while, Murong Yu slowly walked out. Damn dog, I didn't think that you actually called for help, but you guys are not my match, either. I can kill all of you with one strike of my staff. The fire-eyed golden ape forced the large black dog back with a strike of his staff. Then, after it retreated a few miles, it looked coldly at Murong Yu and the large black dog. Yet Hichu was only inside the Hichu Luo Shu and did not come out. Woof! I don't need any help. I alone can eat you, this golden-furred gorilla, the large black dog said in a low voice as he shook his mountain-sized head, appearing very ferocious. Damn dog, I am not a gorilla, but an incomparably noble fire-eyed golden ape. The fire-eyed golden ape flew into a rage, holding the huge golden staff tightly with both hands, and was about to smash it down. Woof! Gorilla, I'm the noblest heavenly dog, and not an ordinary dog. If you call me a damn dog again, I will definitely bite you to death. The large black dog was also extremely furious, and glared angrily at the fire-eyed golden ape with bared fangs and brandished claws. Murong Yu felt a headache coming on. These two demonic beasts kept saying that they were noble in front of him, but why couldn't he see how they were noble? No matter how noble they were only demonic beasts. Thus, the two demonic beasts that thought themselves noble drew their swords and did not come to blows, but instead argued there. The loud voice was like rolling thunder, shaking Murong Yu's eardrums until they hurt. Shut up. Murong Yu finally couldn't bear it any longer and shouted loudly. The two demonic beasts shut up at the same time, and then looked at Murong Yu with killing intent in their eyes. Murong Yu looked at the two demonic beasts with a face full of killing intent, and then looked coldly at the large black dog and said in a low voice, "Large black dog, you don't want to leave here, right? Let me tell you, this is a mystery realm of the cultivation world called the extreme heaven realm. If I don't bring you out, you definitely won't be able to leave here." Woof, woof, woof. At the beginning, the large black dog was still barking loudly in disdain. However, after hearing Murong use words, the large black dog's face immediately showed a fawning expression. "Woof, woof, woof. Lord Heavenly Dog is magnanimous. I won't bicker with Gorilla." As he spoke, the large black dog's figure flashed and instantly shrunk rapidly, turning back to his original appearance. He ran to Murong Yu's side, wagging his flashy dog tail, looking as if he was trying to curry favor. This fellow had long been scared of being trapped in the immortal ending Great Formation. Although the extreme heaven realm was very big, if he was trapped here and couldn't leave, he definitely wouldn't be willing. Hearing Murong use words, the fire-eyed golden ape on the other side was moved. When the large black dog returned to his original size, it also shrunk its body to about 3 meters tall. The golden rod in its hand also shrunk to about 3 meters tall. The fire-eyed golden ape walked a few steps closer, pointed at the large black dog, and said to Murong Yu, "You can bring him out of the extreme heaven realm?" As an extremely powerful demonic beast in the extreme heaven realm, it knew that the demonic beasts in the extreme heaven realm definitely couldn't leave the extreme heaven realm. Otherwise, the extreme heaven realm would open once every 10 years, and the demonic beasts in the extreme heaven realm would have all fled long ago. Who would be willing to be trapped here forever? "Of course I can," Murong Yu said indifferently. The fire-eyed golden ape scratched the back of its head, hesitated, and then asked, "Then can you bring me out of here?" Hearing this, Murong Yu was instantly overjoyed. He was just worrying about how to deceive this big blockhead, but he didn't expect this fellow to speak first. "I can, but..." Murong Yu's expression was difficult. The fire-eyed golden ape was instantly overjoyed. "Then can you bring me out? No matter what condition you have, I'll agree to it." Looking at its anxious appearance, it seemed like it couldn't wait to leave the extreme heaven realm immediately. Chapter 262. It's not impossible to bring you out of the extreme heaven realm, but once we're outside, you have to listen to me. Otherwise, there's no need to talk. Murong Yu pretended to be in a difficult position and pondered for a moment before speaking slowly. The fire-eyed golden ape was instantly overjoyed. "As long as you bring me out of the extreme heaven realm, I'll agree to anything." Seeing the fire-eyed golden ape agree so readily, Murong Yu was a little suspicious. He looked at the fire-eyed golden ape suspiciously. Although this fellow looked silly, he was not a fool. Although this fellow looked like a fool, no matter how foolish he was, he wouldn't be like this, right? As long as Murong Yu brought him out of the extreme heaven realm, he would agree to anything. Even an idiot wouldn't agree to Murong Yu's conditions unconditionally. There was definitely something wrong with this fellow. Meeting Murong Yu's gaze, the fire-eyed golden ape's heart suddenly jumped. He wouldn't go back on his words and not bring me out of the extreme heaven realm, right? What if he really doesn't bring me out of the extreme heaven realm? The fire-eyed golden ape instantly became anxious. If he didn't leave the extreme heaven realm as soon as possible, his life would be in danger. "My lord, let's quickly leave the extreme heaven realm, right? I can't wait." The fire-eyed golden ape looked at Murong Yu impatiently with a hopeful expression. "You really can't wait." A smile appeared on Murong Yu's face as he looked at the fire-eyed golden ape with a smile. If he still couldn't see that there was something wrong with the fire-eyed golden ape at this time, then he would be an idiot. "My lord, please don't bring this big ape out. Let me eat it." The big black dog barked a few times and ran over fiercely. He opened his dog mouth at the fire-eyed golden ape and acted like he was going to swallow it. "Damn dog, I won't lower myself to your level now." The fire-eyed golden ape only looked at the big black dog with disdain, then turned to look at Murong Yu. Murong Yu looked at the fire-eyed golden ape with a smile, causing the fire-eyed golden ape's hair to stand. "Golden ape, I can bring you out of the extreme heaven realm. However, I have a question that I need you to answer," Murong Yu said with a smile. The The fire-eyed golden ape smiled awkwardly and scratched the back of his head. He looked at Muronyu and said, "My lord, when you ask, I will tell you everything I know. Why are you in such a hurry to leave the extreme heavenly realm?" Roar! Just as the fire-eyed golden ape was about to speak, a low growl came from the depths of the extreme divine realm. His voice was low, but it contained an extremely terrifying power. Bang! 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 Right at this moment, Muronyu, the large black dog, and even the fire-eyed golden ape were all struck by the sound waves of the low roar. They were all sent flying and crashed several dozen kilometers away. "What's the situation?" Muronyu turned pale with fright, while the heavenly hound, especially the fire-eyed golden ape, were so scared that their faces turned pale, looking extremely terrified. Who on earth had such terrifying means? It was unknown how many kilometers away, but with just a low growl, Muronyu and the other two were sent flying. In fact, Muronyu even saw many demonic beasts nearby explode into a bloody mist from this low growl. Muronyu turned to look at the fire-eyed golden ape. This fellow was about to be scared to death at this moment, so he definitely knew what was going on. However, before Muronyu could ask, a roar came from the depths of the extreme divine realm. "Fire-eyed golden ape, why aren't you coming over to be eaten by this king?" A terrifying voice came, and waves of terrifying sound waves surged over like a tide, causing Muronyu, the large black dog, and the fire-eyed golden ape's vital energy and blood to churn like a raging river. At the same time, the 9 heavens above their heads suddenly cracked open, and then a large hand covered in black hair directly reached out, quickly grabbing the fire-eyed golden ape with lightning speed. The large hand shattered the void, covering a radius of a few hundred kilometers, and everything within the range of the large hand was the target of this large hand, including Muronyu and the others. Who is this? It's actually so terrifying. When he saw this large hand, Muronyu was shocked again. Facing this huge hand, he couldn't even muster up any thoughts of resistance, because the aura emitted by this large hand was really too terrifying. It was so powerful that it was suffocating. It was hundreds of times stronger than the immortal power that Shui-chun erupted with. Go! At this moment, Muronyu only had this thought. With a thought, Muronyu grabbed the large black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape in each hand, and then disappeared into thin air. After entering the Hichu Luoshu world, Muronyu was still afraid of being discovered by this terrifying existence in Hichu Luoshu. Therefore, he hurriedly left the extreme heaven realm through the teleportation formation in Hichu Luoshu. As long as it was a demonic beast in the extreme heaven realm, no matter how terrifying its strength was, it couldn't leave the extreme heaven realm. Bang! Just as Muronyu disappeared from the extreme heaven realm, the large black hand had already grabbed down. The large hand fiercely grabbed, and the void within a radius of a few hundred kilometers exploded with a bang, directly crushed. "Fire-eyed golden ape, you actually ran away, damn it!" A dull voice continuously spread out from the extreme heaven realm, shaking the void until it kept collapsing and the mountains kept shattering. It was extremely terrifying. However, no matter what, the fire-eyed golden ape still escaped. Even if its strength was heaven-defying, it still couldn't find the location of the fire-eyed golden ape. After all, stepping into the extreme heaven realm, it couldn't extend its large hand out of the extreme heaven realm and explore the cultivation world. Otherwise, with this person's strength, it was unknown whether there would be a match for him in the cultivation world. However, most people didn't have such terrifying strength. Damn it! Damn it! The demon king in the depths of the extreme heaven realm continuously let out angry roars. Suddenly, the large hand fiercely raised and reached out again. Suddenly, in a forest tens of thousands of kilometers away from the space where Muronyu and the others appeared. Suddenly, a large black hand fiercely reached out from the 9 heavens, swept through layers of void, and directly grabbed a demon king who was sitting cross-legged in cultivation. If Murong Yu and the others saw this scene, they would realize that the captured Demon King's strength was several times stronger than the large black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape. However, such a powerful Demon King was directly caught by this black hand, and it didn't even have time to react before it was directly taken away. What exactly is that thing? In the Hichu Luoshu world, Murong Yu, the large black dog, and the fire-eyed golden ape stood on the ground with lingering fear, while Murong Yu looked at the fire-eyed golden ape and asked in a deep voice. Meanwhile, the large black dog was panting by the side, looking at the fire-eyed golden ape with evil intentions. The fire-eyed golden ape was still looking around with lingering fear, afraid that it would be discovered and eaten by that existence before it left the extreme heaven realm. One had to know that that existence was indeed very terrifying. As long as it was within the range of the extreme heaven realm, it would be impossible to escape from its vicious claws. No need to look anymore. This place has already left the extreme heaven realm. Even if that fellow was 10 times stronger, he wouldn't be able to do anything to you. Murong Yu seemed to have seen through the fire-eyed golden ape's worry and said in a deep voice. The fire-eyed golden ape heaved a sigh of relief. Then after pondering for a while, it slowly spoke. That Demon King is said to be the master of the extreme heaven realm, and his strength is extremely terrifying. He is the nightmare of us Demon Kings. He usually sleeps most of the time, but wakes up once every 100 years. The master of the extreme heaven realm had existed for an unknown number of years, and no one knew what realm his strength had reached. In short, it was extremely terrifying, and even if all the demonic beasts of the extreme heaven realm joined forces, they would still not be its match. Usually, it was fine when the master of the extreme heaven realm was asleep. No matter what happened in the extreme heaven realm, no matter how intense the battle between the Demon Kings was, as long as it was not awakened, they would be safe and sound. However, every 100 years, the master of the extreme heaven realm would wake up once. And every time it woke up, it would be the nightmare of the Demon Kings of the extreme heaven realm. This was because every time the master of the extreme heaven realm woke up, it would swallow a Demon King-level demonic beast alive. It only ate Demon King-level demonic beasts and other demonic beasts that had not reached the Demon King level. Even if they were delivered to the master of the extreme heaven realm, it would not spare them a glance. This so-called master of the extreme heaven realm's appetite is really picky, actually supporting Demon King-level demonic beasts. In the future, Lord Heavenly Dog will also only eat Demon King-level demonic beasts. The large black dog said with a gloating smile, his saliva dripping all over the ground. Unfortunately, today was the day that the master of the extreme heaven realm woke up, and its food was obviously the fire-eyed golden ape. With just you, Demon King? The large black dog circled the fire-eyed golden ape a few times, and then spat out 2 rays of white light from its nose as it spoke disdainfully. I'm a Demon King, and although I'm the lowest level Demon King, I am indeed a Demon King. The fire-eyed golden ape looked at the large black dog in displeasure and wanted nothing more than to beat it to death with a stick and then eat its meat. It just woke up. Why does it have to be you? Murong Yu asked in confusion. The fire-eyed golden ape said gloomily, actually, the master of the extreme heaven realm had already chosen me 100 years ago, and I was not a Demon King at that time. In these 100 years, I have not cultivated, but I still stepped into the Demon King level a few years ago. One unlucky child. Haha, these 100 years must have been hard, right? The large black dog stood up like a human and patted the fire-eyed golden ape's shoulder with a dog paw, laughing happily. Scram! The fire-eyed golden ape roared and sent the large black dog flying with a strike of its stick. Since you are not willing to be eaten by it, you can just die and not let it have its way. Murong Yu looked at the fire-eyed golden ape with a doubtful gaze. The fire-eyed golden ape became even more gloomy. In the extreme heaven realm, even if I want to die, I can't. As long as I'm chosen by the master of the extreme heaven realm to become its food, There will be powerful demon kings constantly monitoring this chosen demon king to prevent it from being killed or committing suicide. It can even be said that after being chosen as food by the master of the extreme heaven realm for 100 years, this demon king can do whatever it wants in the extreme heaven realm, and can do whatever it wants. Not only will no one stop it, but those powerful demon kings will also protect it. Otherwise, once this demon king who is chosen as food dies, then the master of the extreme heaven realm will vent his anger on them. A fox assuming the majesty of a tiger. However, this fox assuming the majesty of a tiger was really too pitiful. If there was a choice, no demon beast would choose to assume the majesty of tiger. What is the background of this master of the extreme heaven realm? Chapter 263. Where did it come from? The fire-eyed golden ape was at a loss. We only know that it's the master of the extreme heaven realm, but no one knows where it came from. Moroni was speechless. The master of the extreme heaven realm had ruled the extreme heaven realm for countless years, but as the demon king of the extreme heaven realm, they didn't know where it came from. In fact, this was normal. The master of the extreme heaven realm was so terrifying that the demon kings in the extreme heaven realm couldn't resist at all. They couldn't even think of resisting. In this way, it was understandable that they didn't know where the master of the extreme heaven realm came from. However, why haven't I heard of the master of the extreme heaven realm in the cultivation world? Do they not know at all? Or do they know and treat it as a secret? In fact, every cultivator who entered the extreme heaven realm was under the spirit severing stage. After entering the extreme heaven realm, these cultivators couldn't go deep into the extreme heaven realm. It was even more impossible for them to deal with Demon King level monsters. In front of the Demon King, these human cultivators were just a group of weak ants. Even if they happened to meet the master of the extreme heaven realm, these people might be directly killed. However, with their strength and vision, they would only think that it was a powerful demon king in the extreme heaven realm. They wouldn't think that it was the master of the extreme heaven realm. The master of the extreme heaven realm was much stronger than a demon king. It might even be stronger than any other cultivator in the cultivation world. In other words, if the master of the extreme heaven realm came out of the cultivation world, it was very likely that he would be the number one person in the cultivation world. Fortunately, the master of the extreme heaven realm didn't wake up for long. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to enter the extreme heaven realm often in the future, Moroni pondered and thought. He took away the fire-eyed golden ape, the food of the master of the extreme heaven realm. He wasn't sure if the master of the extreme heaven realm had remembered him. If they were targeted by him, it would be a tragedy. No one would be in a good mood if they were remembered by such a terrifying expert. However, no matter how powerful the master of the extreme heaven realm was, he could only display his power in the extreme heaven realm. As long as Moroni didn't enter the extreme celestial realm, he wouldn't be able to do anything to Moroni. With the fire-eyed golden ape as a demon king in the extreme celestial realm, Moroni was able to gain a deeper understanding of the extreme celestial realm. In the extreme heaven realm, there were countless demon kings. Although the extreme celestial realm was only a secret realm, it was many times larger than the Devil Mountain. The Demon Mountain had a radius of 1,000,000 miles, but it also had a Demon Mountain Lord and 10 Demon Kings. There were similar existences in the extreme celestial realm, and they were even stronger than the Demon Mountain. The extreme celestial realm is incomparably vast. Even our powerful demon kings don't dare to step into the depths. They don't even know where the end of the extreme celestial realm is. Perhaps only the master of the extreme heaven realm would know, because he came from the depths of the extreme heaven realm. The fire-eyed golden ape said, "It's actually so vast and boundless." Moroni was shocked. In that case, wasn't the extreme celestial realm the same as the cultivation world? The cultivation world was also vast and boundless. Even half-step immortals couldn't reach the end of this world. Legend has it that there are immortals at the end of the extreme celestial realm. I don't know if it's true or not. The place where you human cultivators usually appear is only the outermost layer of the extreme celestial realm. The fire-eyed golden ape said, I didn't expect the extreme celestial realm to be so vast. Then, there must be a lot of spirit veins in the depths of the extreme celestial realm. Moron, looked at the fire-eyed golden ape and said, Of course there are a lot of spirit veins. There are 2 rank 9 spirit veins under my cultivation ground, and there are many other spirit veins nearby. In the depths of the extreme celestial realm, we don't lack spirit veins. The fire-eyed golden ape said gloomily. In fact, although there were many spirit veins in the depths of the extreme celestial realm, they usually wouldn't use them to cultivate. After all, once they cultivated to the Demon King level, they could be ordered by the master of the extreme celestial realm and become its food. These people would rather not be strong than become a powerful Demon King. However, there were too many spirit veins in the depths of the extreme celestial realm, causing the spirit energy there to be extremely dense. Even if they didn't cultivate, or even if they suppressed their cultivation, there were still many demon beasts that were constantly breaking through to the Demon King level. Therefore, in the extreme celestial realm, spirit veins were the least valuable. So many spirit veins. Moron-Yu's eyes lit up. He didn't need spirit veins to cultivate now, but there were still 100,000 Chaos members. Moreover, these spirit veins could be exchanged for a large number of magic treasures and weapons. These were what the Chaos members lacked the most. However, Moron-Yu was only thinking about it. Not to mention that he might have offended the master of the extreme celestial realm now. Once he entered the extreme celestial realm, he would definitely be killed by the master of the extreme celestial realm. Even if the master of the extreme celestial realm went into hibernation again, as long as Moron-Yu appeared in the depths of the extreme celestial realm and was discovered by the Demon Kings, he and the fire-eyed golden ape would definitely be beaten to death by these angry Demon Kings. After all, the fire-eyed golden ape had escaped. However, these Demon Kings had to bear the wrath of the master of the extreme celestial realm. Now, they didn't even know what kind of terrifying scene was happening in the extreme celestial realm. However, this had nothing to do with Moron-Yu. His figure swayed, and in the next moment, Moron-Yu appeared directly on Qingxian Peak. As for the fire-eyed golden ape and the big black dog, he didn't let them out. Otherwise, with the 2 of them being like fire and water, once a battle broke out, the entire Qingxian Peak would probably be destroyed. With a sweep of his divine thought, Moron-Yu discovered that there were many new faces on Qingxian Peak. There were already about 10,000 people. Moreover, under the effect of Moron-Yu's large number of recovery pills and breakthrough pills, these people's strength was not bad. Most of them had already reached the form synthesis stage. However, because there were no tribulation-breaking pills and tribulation-crossing golden pills, there was no cultivator in the tribulation-crossing stage, let alone a cultivator in the transformation stage. Although there were no top experts yet, the overall strength of Qingxian Peak was comparable to other peaks. Qingxian Peak's strength was gradually increasing. It had only been a few years, but it had already developed to such a scale. This speed was quite shocking. Of course, it couldn't be compared to Moron-Yu's chaos. With a step, Moron-Yu had already appeared on the highest peak of Qingxian Peak. Standing on the highest peak, Moron-Yu looked into the distance. However, not long after, his face darkened. Vaguely, Moron-Yu felt that there were a few very subtle but very powerful divine thoughts sweeping across Qingxian Peak from time to time. The immortal jutting formation that he had set up previously couldn't stop these people's divine thoughts. These people were all experts in the Hidden Fairy Valley. Moron-Yu's face was a little gloomy. He still didn't know if these people were monitoring Qingxian Peak or protecting it. If they were protecting Qingxian Peak, Moron-Yu wouldn't say anything. After all, with these experts protecting it, Qingxian Peak would definitely be very safe. However, if these people were monitoring Qingxian Peak, Moron-Yu's lips curled up slightly, revealing a cold smile. If the Hidden Fairy Valley couldn't bear to see Qingxian Peak rise so quickly, He didn't mind moving the entire Qing Xian Peak into the Hichu Luoshu world. With a cold snort, Moronyu took a step forward and disappeared from where he was in the next moment. When he reappeared, he was already on another peak of the hidden fairy valley. On the peak, a woman was sitting cross-legged. Perhaps she was cultivating. Elder Huangfu, Moronyu requests an audience. Moronyu looked up at Huangfu Ranxue on the peak and said in a low voice, "So it's Moronyu. Please come over." Huangfu Ranxue's indifferent voice sounded without any fluctuations. Moronyu took a step forward and came to Huangfu Ranxue's side. Looking at Huangfu Ranxue, Moronyu was instantly shocked. When Moronyu first met Huangfu Ranxue, he already knew that she was an elder of the hidden fairy valley and was very powerful. Later on, he also met Huangfu Ranxue a few times. Although each time they met, Morongyu's strength was much stronger than before. However, all this time, he couldn't see through this elder's strength. And now, Moronyu could vaguely feel that Huangfu Ranxue's strength was so strong that she could definitely kill him in an instant. In other words, even a young expert like Shuechun would be killed by Huangfu Ranxue in an instant. Huangfu Ranxue's strength was definitely at the level of an old monster. Moronyu, did you come here today to consider joining our hidden fairy valley? Huangfu Ranxue looked at Moronyu with an inexplicable smile on her face. Moronyu was stunned and couldn't help but smile bitterly. Many years ago, Huangfu Ranxue seemed to have asked Moronyu to join the hidden fairy valley. At that time, Moronyu said that he would think about it, but in the end, he left without saying goodbye. He had almost forgotten about this matter. He didn't expect Huangfu Ranxue to still remember. Smiling, Moronyu said, "Your hidden fairy valley has many talents. Your chief disciple is the #1 person on the Dragon Phoenix list, and there are countless other genius disciples. Even if I join the hidden fairy valley, I'll only be like a drop of water in the ocean. I won't stand out at all. Moreover, I'm used to being free and unfettered. I really don't want to join a sect and be restricted." "You really don't want to think about it?" Huangfu Ranxue looked at Moronyu with a smile on her face. Moronyu shook his head. "I have enemies everywhere. Once I join the hidden fairy valley, I'll only add to your troubles. I really don't want to be restricted. As long as you join the hidden fairy valley, no one in the cultivation world will dare to cause trouble for you." Huangfu Ranxue said indifferently, but a cold, killing intent flashed through her words. Moronyu was shocked. Could it be that the hidden fairy valley has become so powerful? They don't even care about the remaining sects of the 10 great sects? I made up my mind. Elder, you don't need to continue persuading me. I didn't come here today for this matter. Moronyu looked at Huangfu Ranxue and said calmly and resolutely. Although Huangfu Ranxue was already middle-aged, she was still a great beauty. Compared to Zhao Jiqing, Hu Tong, and the others who were young and inexperienced, Huangfu Ranxue was more mature and more attractive. Chapter 264. Moronyu looked at Huangfu Ranxue. He wasn't moved by her beauty and asked in a deep voice, "I just want to ask, are the people of the Hidden Fairy Valley monitoring Qing Xian Peak?" Huangfu Ranxue was startled at first, then she smiled and slowly stood up. She looked at Moronyu and smiled. "You found out? Since you found out, I won't hide it from you. What do you think the Hidden Fairy Valley means?" Moronyu shook his head and said in a deep voice, "No matter how I guess, it's just a guess. I just want to know the answer." Huangfu Ranxue didn't say anything. She just looked at Moronyu. After a long time, she said, "Zhao Jiqing is one of the 2 sanuses of the Hidden Fairy Valley. You should know. Also, Zhao Jiqing has a special constitution, the immortal spirit body. You should know that better than me." Moronyu nodded. "Of course I know. The reason why I decided to send Jiqing to the Hidden Fairy Valley was because you saw her constitution. I also believe that you would teach her wholeheartedly. But," Moronyu looked at Huangfu Ranxue and said solemnly, "as the immortal spirit body, her achievements are great, and her cultivation speed is also very shocking. With my help, Qingshan Peak has also developed quickly. If the Hidden Fairy Valley has any ideas about Jiqing because of this, I definitely won't agree. Elder Huangfu, you should know what I'm talking about. Huangfu Ranxue was slightly startled. Murong Yu's words were a bit deep. However, his words revealed a trace of incomparably sharp, killing intent. Huangfu Ranxue's heart trembled. She was much, much stronger than Murong Yu. However, at this moment, when she heard Murong Yu's words that contained killing intent, her heart turned cold. This shocked her greatly. However, soon, Huangfu Ranxue felt relieved. Murong Yu's cultivation speed was really too fast. Previously, when he was only at the spirit severing stage, he could already kill a cultivator at the transformation stage. What would happen once he reached the transformation stage? One had to know that Murong Yu had only stepped into the cultivation world for about 10 years. With his cultivation speed, he could reach the transformation stage in a few decades. At that time, with Murong Yu's strength, no one in the cultivation world would be his opponent. If they provoked such a powerhouse for no reason, even the 10 sects wouldn't be able to afford it. Moreover, as long as someone dared to hurt Zhao Jiqing, he would retaliate with all his strength. At that time, even the hidden immortal valley wouldn't be able to withstand Murong Yu's fury. Fortunately, he s teeth s to twos SSSS, and the twos to helps. In a few years, Murong Yu will be fully grown. If he can join the hidden fairy valley. What a pity. Huangfu Ranxue sighed. She felt that it was a pity that Murong Yu couldn't join the hidden fairy valley. She smiled and looked at Murong Yu. Zhao Jiqing is one of the saintesses. The hidden fairy valley will only nurture and protect her. We won't monitor her, so you can rest assured. I don't want Jiqing to be hurt in any way. If she doesn't want to do something, I hope you won't force her. Otherwise, I'll be very impulsive. Murong Yu said lightly. Huangfu Ranxue smiled. You don't believe me? Murong Yu laughed. Of course I believe, Elder Huangfu. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first. Without waiting for Huangfu Ranxue's reply, he took a step forward and disappeared from her mountain. Huangfu Ranxue shook her head. This kid's really... When Murong Yu reappeared, he was already back on Qingshan Peak. After confirming from Huangfu Ranxue that the strong spiritual sense wasn't there to monitor Qingshan Peak, Murong Yu relaxed. At this time, Zhao Jiqing was still outside and hadn't returned. This time, Jiqing also appeared in the Immortal Mound. With her strength and the expert from the Hidden Fairy Valley by her side, they should have collected some spirit veins. However, without the yin-yang cauldron, she should have used up most of her rejuvenation pills. Although spirit veins could be exchanged for rejuvenation pills, how could it compare to Murong Yu's conversion speed? Moreover, the amount of spirit veins Zhao Jiqing had shouldn't be enough for him. During this trip to the Immortal Mound, Murong Yu had collected hundreds of spirit veins, close to 1,000. Although this amount of spirit veins couldn't compare to the survival of the major sects, in terms of personal wealth, Murong Yu wasn't a poor man. Since Jiqing hasn't returned yet, I can't give them the tribulation-breaking pills. Then I'll increase the spiritual energy of Qingshan Peak first. With a thought, Murong Yu rose into the air and appeared above Qingshan Peak. Who dares trespass on Qingshan Peak? Just as Murong Yu appeared in the sky, 2 feminine shouts sounded out. Following that, 2 female body integration cultivators soared into the sky and surrounded Murong Yu from the front and back. Their eyes were filled with killing intent as they looked at Murong Yu. Although Murong Yu had appeared here twice before, he hadn't been discovered. Now that he appeared in the air, anyone who wasn't blind would be able to see him, let alone these cultivators. Seeing the 2 women glaring at him with murderous intent, Murong Yu was a little depressed. These women were disciples who joined Qingshan Peak later and didn't recognize Murong Yu at all. Moreover, Zhao Jiqing, Huawei, and the others weren't here. It was hard to explain. Murong Yu's mind raced as he pondered how to explain his identity to them. Seeing that Murong Yu didn't answer, one of the women's face turned cold and shouted angrily, "Leave Qingshan Peak at once, or we won't be polite to you." At the same time, A few other female cultivators at the body integration stage rose into the air and stared at Murong with murderous intent. At the same time, they were puzzled. The entire Qing Xian Peak was enveloped by the immortal jutting array. Apart from the disciples of Qing Xian Peak, no one else knew the way in and out. Moreover, even if someone managed to sneak into Qing Xian Peak, they would only do it secretly. However, this guy seemed to have made the whole world know and appeared in the air. Wasn't this courting death? I'm Murong. Murong had no choice but to say so. These people were all disciples of Qing Xian Peak. If they were disciples of other sects, Murong would have slapped them away, regardless of their gender. What? You're Murong? You're that notorious demon, Murong? Hearing this, the women's expressions changed instantly. Then, almost simultaneously, they took a few steps back and stared at Murong in shock. Am I that scary? Murong smiled embarrassedly. Usually, when people saw him, they would be filled with murderous intent, or they would directly charge at him with weapons and shout to kill him. Who will be scared off by him? Murong, Qing Xian Peak does not welcome you. Please leave, or else we will activate the array and kill you. This is the hidden fairy valley. You can't do whatever you want here. After the shock, the women did not disperse. One of the women took a step forward and said to Murong in a low voice, I'm too lazy to talk to you. Murong shook his head. He did not care about what the woman said. Chonglu, Jianglu, you bastards, get out here right now. Suddenly, Murong shouted. However, the female disciples who surrounded him were greatly startled. Then, these female disciples were enraged. Jianglu and Chonglu were of high status in Qing Xian Peak. How could they allow outsiders to call them by their names? As for the woman who spoke earlier, she let out a delicate shout and slashed her sword at Murong. She was only in the form synthesis stage. Murong had killed cultivators in this stage a long time ago. Now, he only moved his body slightly, and the woman's attack swept past him. It did not even touch his clothes. Go and inform the sect. Murong was notorious. These people knew that they could not do anything to Murong. They could only inform the experts in the hidden fairy valley to deal with him. That bastard called me. At this moment, an angry shout came from the bottom of Qing Xian Peak. Then, a figure rose into the air and rushed towards Murong. Seeing Chonglu appear, the women around him heaved a sigh of relief. Although they were all in the form synthesis stage, Chonglu and Jianglu were much more powerful than them. Usually, they were the ones who dealt with the matters of Qing Xian Peak. Chonglu, you are so impressive. Murong said indifferently as he looked at Chonglu, who was flying towards him with his hands behind his back. Chonglu was furious. He looked at Murong and was stunned at first. Then, he rushed over with a look of ecstasy. Haha, it's Boss Murong. Then, he looked at the female disciples around him. His expression changed, and he said in a deep voice, What are you doing? What are you doing? Hurry up and get down. Don't you know who he is? He is Sister Zhao's husband, our son-in-law. Why aren't you greeting him? This guy changed his expression quickly. It was unparalleled. The women were shocked by him. After they bowed to Murong, they were ordered to leave by Chonglu. Until they went down, they were still dizzy and hadn't reacted yet. Murong was also a little dizzy. He was shocked by Chonglu. What son-in-law? This guy's too good at messing around. Hee, Boss Murong, how have you been? I heard that you were killing people outside. How impressive. When will you take me out to show off? Murong faintly smiled. Sure. If Jiqing agrees, you can stay by my side. I will let you have a taste of being hunted by people all over the world. Chong Li's mind instantly recalled the scene of him being hunted by people all over the world. He couldn't help but shudder. Well, I'd better cultivate quietly in Qing Xian Peak. By the way, Boss Murong, Sister Zhao hasn't returned yet. Why did you come back alone? Of course I have something to do. Don't talk so much nonsense. Let me increase the spiritual energy of Qing Xian Peak first. As he spoke, Murong flipped his hand. In the next moment, a sealed spiritual vein appeared in his hand. Chapter 265. This is a spirit meridian. Looking at the spirit meridian in Murong Yu's hand, Changlu was shocked and looked at Murongyu in shock. Murongyu nodded slightly and did not speak. Then he waved his hand, and the spirit meridian was thrown out. In the void, the spirit meridian expanded with the wind and turned into a dragon-like creature that was hundreds of miles long. At the same time, an extremely pure and powerful spirit energy was emitted from the spirit meridian like an ocean. It was very shocking. Murongyu flipped his hand and slapped the struggling spirit meridian into the ground of Qingxian Peak. Then, Murongyu waved his hand, and spirit meridian after spirit meridian were thrown under Qingxian Peak as if they were worthless. 10 spirit meridians. 10 spirit meridians were all suppressed under Qingxian Peak by Murongyu. Seeing Murongyu's generosity, Changlu was so shocked that he could not speak. These were 10 spiritual veins, not rejuvenation pills. And yet, Murongyu slapped them all under Qingxian Peak without batting an eyelid. Did this mean that Murongyu was filthy rich, or was he being overly generous? 10 spirit meridians. Even if they were only first-grade spirit meridians, they were still very valuable. In fact, some first-rate forces only had 1 spirit meridian to suppress them. But Qingxian Peak had a total of 10 spirit meridians. Such generosity was several times more than the average large force. As the 10 spirit meridians were sent into Qingxian Peak, the density of spirit energy in Qingxian Peak increased by 10 times, dozens of times, 100 times, more than 100 times. Originally, Qingxian Peak was just a barren mountain. Although it was later modified and a few spirit gathering formations were set up on the mountain. But all this while, the spirit energy in Qingxian Peak was not very good. If not for Murongyu's large amount of energy recovery pills, Qingxian Peak would not have been able to absorb more disciples without much spirit energy. However, at this moment, the 10 first-grade spirit meridians that were suppressed in Qingxian Peak were emitting spirit energy that enveloped the entire Qingxian Peak. The spirit energy instantly increased by a few hundred times. Everyone on Greenxian Peak was shocked by the dense spirit qi. Regardless of whether they were in the midst of cultivation or doing something else, all of them emerged from their cultivation grounds and gathered together. Some of them even flew up into the sky. Feeling the spirit energy that was a few hundred times denser than before, everyone was excited. Such dense spirit energy. If I keep cultivating here, I am confident that I can reach the transformation stage. More than that, if I can cultivate again, I can't. What is going on? Why is the spirit qi here so dense? This thought flashed through everyone's minds at the same time. The sudden eruption of such rich spiritual energy was definitely not an accident. Someone must have done it on purpose. Saintis is back. Peak Master is back. All of a sudden, countless cultivators discussed among themselves, trying to guess who changed Qingxian Peak. At the same time, almost the entire Hidden Fairy Valley was shaken. Although the Hidden Fairy Valley was extremely vast, the distance between each peak was extremely far. However, the spirit energy in Qingxian Peak suddenly increased by a few hundred times. From afar, the entire Qingxian Peak was surrounded by waves of spirit energy. The dense spirit energy soared into the sky and enveloped the entire Qingxian Peak. At the same time, it extended in all directions. With such a huge commotion, even the weakest cultivators in the foundation establishment stage were alarmed. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Figures flew over from all directions in the Hidden Fairy Valley. At the same time, powerful spiritual senses broke through the void and descended. They were all alarmed by the sudden increase in spirit energy in Qingxian Peak. In just a few breaths, the entire Qingxian Peak was surrounded by countless Hidden Fairy Valley disciples and powerful spiritual senses. Everyone was shocked when they felt the terrifying spiritual energy emitted from the Greenxian Peak. Such dense spirit energy. It's at least 10 times denser than the spirit energy from a grade 1 spiritual vein. A cultivator who had seen a spiritual vein said in shock. More than that, could it be that a spiritual vein of an extremely high grade was suppressed under Qing Xian Peak? Did someone accidentally touch the spiritual vein? If Qing Xian Peak was suppressing the spiritual vein, but the spiritual vein was not touched, it might not be able to release spirit energy. Suppressing the spiritual vein? That's impossible. Even if Sister Zhao was appointed as the saintess before she made a huge contribution to the sect would not reward her with suppressing Qing Xian Peak with a spiritual vein. There's only one possibility. Saintess has gained a lot from this trial. There are at least a few grade 1 spiritual veins or even higher grade ones. Many experts in the Hidden Fairy Valley were alarmed. Even some old monster-level existences had sent their divine senses over. These old monsters were incomparably powerful experts. They could tell at a glance that there were 10 grade 1 spiritual veins suppressed under Qing Xian Peak. Such generosity. Even though these old monsters were knowledgeable and had spiritual veins themselves, they could not help but be shocked when they saw Murong use generosity. This kid is extremely talented and has countless treasures on him. He's also very generous. It's a pity that he didn't join the Hidden Fairy Valley. A few powerful spiritual senses came into contact and communicated in the air. I heard that this kid is notorious outside and has enemies everywhere. Even though he's talented and has great luck, I'm afraid he's also a troublemaker. Someone said, he's definitely a talent. If he can join the Hidden Fairy Valley, our Hidden Fairy Valley will become even stronger. This kid has only been a cultivator for about 10 years and has already achieved so much. He might really be able to ascend in the future. An old monster said. Legend has it that this kid is very vengeful and very protective. He told those little guys in the sect not to provoke him. Otherwise, we won't be able to show our faces. What's there to worry about? It's the law of the jungle. Whoever has the biggest fist is the winner. If you provoke others and get killed, you can only blame yourself for not being as strong as others. Haha, I heard that this kid joined Zushinzong before. Later on, he was forced out of Zushinzong because of small matter. Now that this kid is getting stronger and stronger, I wonder what kind of expression those old monsters in Zushinzong have. They must be so regretful that they want to slap themselves in the face. A few old guys laughed gloatingly. Such rich spiritual qi. It would be great if I could cultivate on Qing Xian Peak. Outside Qing Xian Peak, many cultivators murmured. Some of the cultivators even sat cross-legged on the ground and began to absorb the overflowing spiritual qi to cultivate. You want to join Qing Xian Peak? You should go and change your gender first, someone said with a smile. Not only that, Qing Xian Peak has to go through a very strict selection process. If they don't have a satisfactory disciple, they'd rather not accept anyone. Sigh, I'm so envious of Chong Lu and Jiang Lu. They're the only 2 men in the entire Qing Xian Peak. Not only do they have a large amount of resources, but they're also surrounded by flowers. How awesome! If Jiang Lu and Chong Lu heard this, they would definitely cry and say, "Boss, we're just doing manual labor." For a moment, many Hidden Fairy Valley disciples were envious and jealous of Qing Xian Peak. However, they were in a good mood because they had nothing to do with Qing Xian Peak. Moreover, no one dared to provoke Qing Xian Peak now. Although Zhao Jiqing wasn't that powerful and couldn't intimidate these people, her status was there for all to see. Moreover, Zhao Jiqing had a Tao protector by her side. That was an existence on the level of an old monster. Who would dare to have designs on Zhao Jiqing? Moreover, Zhao Jiqing also had a terrifyingly powerful master. Most importantly, the sect valued Zhao Jiqing very much. Due to the above reasons, in the Hidden Fairy Valley, even if someone hated Zhao Jiqing, they wouldn't dare to do anything to Zhao Jiqing. What are you doing? This is all thanks to your young master, Murong Yu. Remember, Boss Murong Yu isn't a notorious devil. Chong Lu immediately shouted when he saw the disciples of Qing Xian Peak put down what they were doing and ran out. Thank you, young master. After being yelled at by Chong Lu, some people immediately came to their senses and thanked him one after another. Murong Yu only smiled. He didn't transform Qing Xian Peak to gain their gratitude. He only did it for Zhao Jiqing. All right, The spirit energy of Qing Xian Peak will be like this in the future and won't dissipate. Everyone disperse. Murong Yu waved his hand and dismissed the crowd. He pondered for a moment and then began to set up the array. Although the 10 spiritual veins were separately placed under Qing Xian Peak and suppressed by Murong Yu. However, the spirit energy revealed by the spiritual veins didn't just cover the entire Qing Xian Peak. A considerable amount of spirit energy dissipated in all directions and was lost for nothing. Next, Murong Yu began to set up the array on Qing Xian Peak. As Murong Yu finished setting up the array one by one, the rich spirit energy no longer dissipated in all directions and only flowed within Qing Xian Peak. In the future, as long as they didn't actively absorb the spirit energy of the 10 spiritual veins, the 10 spiritual veins wouldn't dry up. As time passed, the spirit energy on Qing Xian Peak would become richer and richer. Although it couldn't surpass the main peak of the Hidden Fairy Valley, with such terrifying and rich spirit energy, it was definitely the peak with the richest spirit energy in the Hidden Fairy Valley apart from the main peak. In the future, as long as one cultivated in Qing Xian Peak, they wouldn't need the energy recovery pill and would be able to achieve twice the result with half the effort. This would be the only cultivation sanctuary in the Hidden Fairy Valley apart from the main peak. One could imagine that in the near future, Qing Xian Peak would become more and more powerful. After doing all this, Murong Yu didn't leave Qing Xian Peak immediately. Instead, he stayed for a while. During this period of time, more than 10,000 members of Chaos in Hichu Luoshu who had yet to undergo the 49 heavenly tribulations had also succeeded. When the last person had safely passed the 49 heavenly tribulations, the 100,000 members of Chaos were all in the transformation stage. A team of 100,000 cultivators in the transformation stage was powerful enough to wipe out most of the sects in the cultivation world. At this moment, Murong Yu was also a little restless. For a long time, the members of Chaos had joined forces with monsters in the extreme heavenly realm and lacked fighting with other cultivators. Most importantly, the 100,000 people had all reached the transformation stage, but didn't have the corresponding magic weapon. With the current strength of Chaos, it was time to make a name for itself in the cultivation world. Chapter 266. Meteor City was located in the central region of the cultivation world. It was one of the 5 major cities in the cultivation world. The city governor's mansion was the real ruler of Meteor City. They had absolute power. Other than the city governor's mansion of Meteor City, there were 3 other families: Su family, Zhu family, and Zhang family. These 3 families were known as the 3 major families of Meteor City. They were usually domineering in Meteor City. Even the people for the top 10 sects did not dare to offend the 3 major families. In Meteor City, these 3 major families were the local tyrants. However, not long ago, the 3 major families had offended someone they should not have offended. As a result, the Su family, one of the 3 major families, was annihilated. In fact, although the 3 major families were the local tyrants of Meteor City, their strength could barely be considered as a first-rate force. They were at the bottom of the first-rate forces. There was still a gap between them and the city governor's mansion of Meteor City. They could not be compared to the top 10 families. Night fell and the stars twinkled in the night sky. Even Meteor City, one of the 5 major cities in the cultivation world, gradually quietened down. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Suddenly, in a secluded corner of Meteor City, black shadows appeared out of thin air. At a glance, they were all men in black with their faces covered. Not only were their faces covered, but what was even more shocking was that their realms were about the same. All of them were in the transformation stage. Black shadows kept appearing out of thin air. After they appeared, the men in black quickly lined up in neat formation. They did not make any sound throughout the entire process. Soon, the men in black who appeared out of thin air stood in 3 lines. At this moment, if anyone was there, they would see that there were tens of thousands of men in black in the 3 lines. Tens of thousands of men in black who were in the transformation stage. Which sect was this? Which sect had such powerful strength? It was a pity that these people appeared in the secluded corners of Meteor City. Moreover, it was late at night, and no one noticed them. These men in black were the members of Chaos. Let's go. Moron did not cover his face. He only put on a mask. He waved his hand and let out a low roar. Immediately after, the three groups of black-clothed men quietly spread out their figures, and each of them quickly ran in different directions. During this process, the members of Chaos maintained their neat formation and remained silent. Woof, woof, woof. The large black dog followed behind a pair of black-robed men. Spreading his forelegs, he ran forward happily. On the other side, the fire-eyed golden ape carried the golden rod on its shoulder and took large strides to follow the group. Although the Fallen Star City was huge, it was only a matter of a few breaths for these transformation stage cultivators. Not long after, the three groups of black-clothed men arrived at their respective targets. The Zhang family, the shops of the Zhu clan, and the Yuan Su sect in Meteor City. Attack! Following the orders of the leaders of each team, such as Zhang Ao and Yang Man, tens of thousands of transformation stage Chaos members rose into the air or pounced on their targets. At almost the same time, rumble. In an instant, waves of horrifying aura erupted from the members of Chaos like a vast ocean, sweeping out in all directions. At the same time, hundreds of millions of terrifying forces were shot out by them, tearing the sky and splitting the earth, shattering the void. Tens of thousands of transformation stage powerhouses attacked at the same time. It was extremely terrifying. One after another, terrifying forces descended from the sky, bombarding the shops of Zhu family, Zhang family, and Yuanshu sect. Rumble. The powerhouses of the two families and one shop did not even have time to react before these terrifying forces bombarded them. After an earth-shattering explosion, the shops of the two families and Yuanshu sect could not withstand such a terrifying attack and were shattered. Countless people were directly killed. Even a one-step immortal would not dare to take the attacks of tens of thousands of transformation stage cultivators head-on. Not to mention that these two families only had ordinary transformation stage powerhouses. Who dares to attack my Zhu family? Amidst the angry roars, several figures rose into the sky, each emitting a horrifying aura that shook the Fallen Star City. Kill them all. On the Zhu family side was Zhang Ao's Azure Dragon Squad. Seeing that these people were not killed, Zhang Ao only sneered and immediately ordered his men to attack. Without any hesitation, everyone in the Azure Dragon Squad immediately locked on to these powerhouses who were fleeing for their lives. Suddenly, countless terrifying forces strangled towards them. The expressions of the Zhu family's transformation stage powerhouses changed drastically. Their bodies swayed and wanted to teleport away. In the face of the attacks of so many powerhouses of the same realm, they simply could not raise the thought of resisting. Rumble, the terrifying forces shattered the void within the Zhu family's territory. These transformation stage cultivators of the Zhu family did not have time to teleport and were already killed by the members of Chaos. They could not withstand a single blow. It was as easy as crushing dry weeds. The battle came and ended quickly. In just a few breaths, the Zhu family, one of the three major families of the Fallen Star City, had been destroyed. Not a single one was left. Seeing this scene, Murong was not happy. Instead, he was a little depressed. They could not withstand a single blow. They did not achieve the purpose of training the troops at all. However, Murong did not think about it. How could the small Zhu family withstand the attacks of tens of thousands of transformation stage powerhouses? Even if they were to face the powerhouses of the top 10 sects, they would probably be swept away like a whirlwind. If those old monsters of the top 10 sects did not take action, the top 10 sects would also be vulnerable. However, the top 10 sects had a deep foundation, and these small families could not compare to them at all. Therefore, at this stage, Murong did not dare to take action against those big forces. Once those old monsters were provoked, even if all the members of Chaos were in the transformation stage, they would probably be slapped to death with one slap. Moreover, no one knew if there were any immortals in the top 10 sections. In front of immortals, all cultivators below the immortal level were ants. No matter how heaven-defying your strength was, as long as you were not an immortal, you were all ants. At the same time that the Zhu family was destroyed, the battle on the other side had also ended. The Origin Void Sect shop in the Fallen Star City was directly razed to the ground. As for the Zhang family, one of the three major families, they were also completely vulnerable. Without waiting for Murong Yu to speak, Zhang Ao waved his hand and was the first to rush into the Zhu family. Take away everything from before. Leave nothing behind. The main purpose of their activities tonight was robbery, like wolves and tigers. Not long after, everything in the shops of the two major families and the Origin Void Sect had been looted. At this time, the people of the Fallen Star City finally reacted. From the appearance of Murong Yu and the others, to the destruction of the Zhu family, to the looting of their treasuries. In less than the time it took to brew a cup of tea, everything happened in an extremely short time. The orders were followed, and the speed was so fast that no one could react in a short period of time. The countless cultivators in the Fallen Star City did not react for a long time because they were shocked by the tens of thousands of transformation stage cultivators in the chaos. Tens of thousands of transformation stage cultivators. Perhaps for the 10 great sects and other giant sects, they would also have such a large number of transformation stage cultivators. But would they come out to rob? Even if the cultivators of the top 10 sects wanted to destroy the Zhu and Zhang families, they would definitely do it openly and not cover their faces. After all, this was a good opportunity to show their sect strength. Once the top 10 sects had so many transformation stage cultivators, in addition to those old monsters, their strength would definitely be able to move unhindered in the cultivation world. However, the possibility of these people being from the top 10 sects was extremely low. Because these people were like an army, they followed orders and were extremely disciplined. Even if the cultivators of the top sects could gather together, they would definitely not be able to do it in such an orderly manner. However, other than those top forces, which other force would have so many cultivators? It was because of this that they were shocked. They were shocked by the number of transformation stage cultivators in this force. At this moment, the Chaos members who had destroyed the three forces had already soared into the sky and flew out of the Fallen Star City. Destroy the Wuji Sword Sect shop. When they arrived above the Limitless Sword faction and the Void Sky Sect shop, Murong Yu gave the order, and the two sects were immediately blown to smithereens. In the end, the Dharma treasures and divine weapons were all taken away by the Chaos members. Where do you think you're going? Just as Murong Yu and the others were about to fly out of the Fallen Star City, an angry roar suddenly came from the City Lord's residence. Then, a large hand suddenly stretched out from the City Lord's residence, covering the sky and earth, covering half of the Fallen Star City, and slapping towards Murong Yu and the others. Woof! Lord Heavenly Hound is in a bad mood. The Heavenly Hound barked gloomily, and its body suddenly soared into the sky. In the void, the Heavenly Hound shook its body and instantly turned into the size of a huge mountain. Then, it opened its mouth and bit towards the large hand that was slapping down. At the same time, the fire-eyed golden ape roared, and its body instantly grew bigger. It raised its golden rod that had turned into 1,000 miles long and smashed it towards the large hand that was slapping down. Boom! The three forces collided violently, and then there was an earth-shattering explosion. The terrifying impact instantly exploded, and the void within 1,000 miles was instantly shattered by the terrifying impact. The large hand was instantly shattered, and the fire-eyed golden ape and the Heavenly Hound were directly sent flying. They fell far away and crushed countless buildings in the Fallen Star City. How dare you act so presumptuously in the Fallen Star City? You're courting death. There was an angry roar, and another large hand stretched out from the City Lord's residence, enveloping the Heavenly Hound and the fire-eyed golden ape. It actually wanted to kill the two of them in one fell swoop. If you don't want the fallen star city to be destroyed, I hope you can stop. At this moment, Murong Yu's words slowly spread out. Hearing this, the large hand suddenly stopped. At this moment, the Chaos members had already rushed out of the fallen star city and flew into the distance. Chapter 267. The huge hand only paused for a moment before it shattered the void and slapped the Chaos members who were flying outside the city again. This person was an expert from the City Lord Mansion and could also be the City Lord of Fallen Star City. If it was before, the three major families had a conflict with Murong Yu, and the Su family was eventually destroyed. Under such circumstances, the City Lord Mansion could turn a blind eye. But today, divine soldiers descended from the sky. These men in black rushed into Fallen Star City and destroyed the shops of the two major families and two major sections. At the same time, they robbed them of all their wealth. This was clearly robbery. They were robbing under the eyes of the City Lord Mansion. How could the City Lord Mansion turn a blind eye to this? If the City Lord Mansion did not step in today's matter, the City Lord Mansion would be ridiculed by the world in the future. Who would dare to stay in Fallen Star City in the future, or even do business? If the City Lord Mansion did not step in, would today's incident happen again in the future? Even though the City Lord Mansion was shocked by the tens of thousands of men in black who were in the transformation stage, but they still had to step in. The huge hand stretched out and covered a part of the world. A terrifying aura was emitted and crushed the void as it slapped down rapidly. The people who attacked were at least at the half-immortal level. They were really powerful. Seeing that the City Lord Mansion's people did not stop, Murong Yu's face suddenly turned cold. Attack! With a cold shout, the tens of thousands of Chaos members who had stopped flying attacked at the same time and unleashed their strongest attack. In an instant, the powerful power of tens of thousands of transformation stage cultivators soared into the sky and condensed into a huge fist in the void. The huge fist emitted a terrifying aura. It shattered the sky and cracked the earth. Even the sky trembled. The powerful aura was even more breathtaking, making one's soul tremble. Boom! After a shocking explosion, the huge hand from the City Lord Mansion was instantly shattered. The huge fist formed by tens of thousands of transformation stage cultivators was under their control and blasted directly in the direction of the City Lord Mansion of Fallen Star City. What a terrifying fist! Seeing the huge fist coming down from the void at lightning speed, everyone could only feel their souls trembling nonstop. Their faces turned pale and their lips turned pale. Many cultivators had already started flying out of the meteor shower city. If the City Lord's Mansion could not withstand this fist, then the City Lord's Mansion would be destroyed. Even if the people in the City Lord's Mansion were able to withstand this terrifying fist, the terrifying impact from both sides would still cause great damage to the City Lord's Mansion. Bastard! Angry roars came from the City Lord's Mansion. At the same time, several figures rushed out of the City Lord Mansion. Each of them had a powerful aura. They were at least at the half-immortal realm. However, even though they were all existences at the half-celestial realm or above, they still had solemn expressions on their faces as they faced the huge fists that were rapidly descending upon them. Rumble, more than 10 half-immortal stage experts and above attacked at the same time. They sent out waves of extremely berserk power towards the huge fist that was rapidly smashing down. The terrifying power of both sides continued to collide violently in midair, creating a series of earth-shattering noises. The void above the City Lord's Mansion was like a piece of paper that was constantly being shattered. Puff, puff, puff. Even though these super experts had already attacked with all their might, they were still unable to shatter the huge fist. Many half-immortal stage experts even spat out blood due to the impact. Rumble. All of a sudden, a dazzling and stunning sword light erupted from the City Lord's Mansion. The sword light was extremely dazzling and stunning like the sun. The dazzling light even illuminated the entire night sky. Chi! The void was directly torn into two by the sword light. However, The sword light faced the sky and slashed the huge fist into two halves. Then, two more sword lights erupted and directly shattered the power that Murong Yu and the others had sent over. Although some of the power of the fist had already been blasted away by the few half-immortal stage experts, it was still very powerful. However, this sword light was simply too terrifying. Its power was not inferior to that of an half-immortal. Could it be that there's an half-immortal in the Meteor Shower City? Everyone who saw this scene could not help but be shocked. All along, the strength of the Meteor Shower City had not been very strong. Even before this, even the three big families could contend with them. Although the three big families had experts in the transformation stage, there were less than 100 of them. These three families could compete with the City Lord's Mansion when they joined forces. One could imagine how weak the City Lord's Mansion was. It was precisely because of this that many forces in the Meteor Shower City began to become restless and wanted to get a share of the pie. However, the sudden appearance of the people from the Chaos City had provoked the City Lord's Mansion. At the same time, nearly 10 half-immortals appeared, and there seemed to be an half-immortal in the City Lord's Mansion. This was definitely not the true strength of the City Lord's Mansion. Even if this was the true strength of the City Lord's Mansion, it was still very terrifying. In the cultivation world, where there were no immortals, half-immortals were the strongest. With an half-immortal in the Meteor Shower City, who dared to touch them? After this night, many forces in the Meteor Shower City fell silent. This was because they had seen the terrifying side of the City Lord's Mansion. In fact, the forces of the 5 big cities in the cultivation world were not weak. Although they were not as strong as the top 10 sects, they were still giants. Otherwise, how could they have dominated the 5 big cities for countless years without falling? Without a powerful force, they would have been destroyed long ago. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. After smashing the huge fist, many half-immortal experts in the City Lord's Mansion soared into the sky and chased after Murong Yu and the others. However, at this time, Murong Yu and the others had already disappeared and returned to the Hichu, Luoshu world. Even though the City Lord's Mansion of the Meteor Shower City was very resourceful, they were still unable to find Murong Yu and the others. At this time, the Meteor Shower City was in a mess. Although the stunning sword in the City Lord's Mansion had shattered the huge fist, the aftermath of the terrifying power had destroyed countless of the nearby buildings. The shops of the Zhu family and the Zhang family, as well as the Yuan Su sect and the Wuji sword sect, had long been turned into ruins. At this time, above the 4 ruins, a huge black flag was fluttering in the wind. It seemed to be mocking all of this. Chaos. There were only 2 words on the flag fluttering in the wind. Chaos? Could it be the name of the black-robed men's organization? Does anyone know the origin of this chaos? When did such a powerful organization appear in the cultivation world? For a moment, countless cultivators stared at the 4 flags in a daze. At the same time, as orders and news spread from the Meteor Shower City, the entire cultivation world was shaken. Countless forces and organizations began to operate one after another, inquiring about this organization called Chaos in the cultivation world. However, Chaos seemed to have appeared out of thin air. There was no trace at all. There was no way to find out. This was because the members of Chaos appeared out of thin air in the Meteor Shower City, and after leaving the Meteor Shower City, they entered the Hichu, Luoshu world. People from the outside world could not find out at all. Not long ago, Murong Yu had destroyed one of the 3 major families, the Su family. At that time, there were also black-robed men, and all of them were also in the transformation stage. Could they all be from Chaos? Someone made a comparison between the 2 incidents. Could this chaos be the force behind Murong Yu? Many people frowned. If that was the case, then they had to reconsider if they should continue to hunt down Murong Yu. After all, if Murong Yu really had such a terrifying organization behind him, he could destroy a major sect at any time. Even if it was the top 10 sects, they had the strength to fight head-on. After all, tens of thousands of transformation stage cultivators this force was very terrifying. It was enough to wipe out half of the cultivation world. They knew nothing about chaos, but they were deeply shocked by the power displayed by chaos. For a moment, the entire cultivation world was shaken again. However, chaos seemed to have disappeared into thin air and did not appear again. Although there are many spiritual weapons and various elixirs in the two major families' treasure vaults, is still a drop in the bucket. To fully equip 100,000 members, we have to rob giants like the top 10 sections. In the Hichu Luoshu world, Muronyu shook his head and said, "This time, the destruction of the Zhang family and the Su family, as well as the robbery of the Yuan Su sect and the Wuji sword sect shops, was very successful. Only a few unlucky people suffered minor injuries. Other than the few spiritual veins of the two major families, there were only a few hundred spiritual weapons. In addition to Murongyu's previous spiritual weapons, less than 1/10 of the 100,000 members of Chaos had spiritual weapons and weapons. If they could rob one of the giants of the top 10 sects, it would be more or less enough. However, the Starfall City's City Lord Mansion already had such a powerful force. Giants like the top 10 sects would probably have more experts of a similar level. If Muronyu really wanted to attack the top 10 sects, he would probably suffer heavy casualties and gain nothing. I'm still not strong enough." Muronyu sighed, his figure flashed, left Hichu Luoshu, and appeared in Starfall City. The big black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape followed beside him. "Woof! So many delicacies, I want to eat all of them." As soon as they appeared in the city and saw the cultivators passing by, the big black dog was drooling. Both of them were glowing. "Big black dog, don't be rash." Muronyu kicked the big black dog, but caused the big black dog to bark loudly and pounce on him, biting wildly. Pung! The fire-eyed golden ape, who had been silent all this time, smashed down with his rod, sending the big black dog flying. "How dare you be rude to the Lord? You're courting death." "Woof! Golden-furred ape, you're courting death. I'm going to swallow you." The big black dog was furious, turning into a streak of light and pouncing on the fire-eyed golden ape. To this, Muronyu completely ignored it. When these two fellows got together, they would fight until the sky turned dark. As long as they didn't cause any big trouble, Muronyu wouldn't care about them. Chapter 268. With a flash, a young man appeared in front of Muronyu and stared coldly at Muronyu. His eyes were cold and filled with killing intent. "You're Muronyu?" The young man's face was indifferent as he asked coldly. Muronyu sized him up and was slightly shocked. He squinted his eyes and said, "An expert, an absolute expert." Although this young man looked a lot colder and murderous, he didn't reveal any powerful aura. However, Muronyu felt that this young man gave him a very dangerous feeling. Even if he wasn't as strong as Shuechun, he wasn't far off. Immediately, Muronyu became vigilant. "That's right. Who are you?" Muronyu wasn't polite at all. It looked like the other party was here to pick a fight. It was a waste of saliva to talk to this kind of person. "Are you really Muronyu?" Hearing this, the young man's eyes shot out two terrifying rays of light. At the same time, an extremely violent, murderous aura was released from his body and rushed toward Muronyu like a tide. A cold, murderous intent flashed across Muronyu's face. He snorted, and the murderous aura that swept toward him dissipated. It couldn't suppress him at all. After all, if it was just comparing auras, Muronyu had experienced auras that were stronger than the young man in front of him. Although the young man's aura was violent, it still couldn't shake Muronyu. However, Muronyu became more vigilant. "You're not bad, but you must die today. I'm Ma Tianqing's brother, Ma Tianyan. Come out of the city and die." As soon as he finished speaking, Ma Tianyan had already soared into the sky and flew out of Meteor City. He didn't seem to be afraid that Muronyu wouldn't keep the appointment or escape. He seemed to know that Muronyu would definitely follow him. He was full of confidence. Ma Tianyan, 8th on the Dragon Phoenix list, Zhu Shinzong's chief disciple. Muronyu did not follow them out. Instead, he stood where he was and sneered. The top 10 cultivators on the Dragon Phoenix list should have similar strength. Ma Tianyun's strength should be on par with Murongyu's. If he didn't have any special methods, he wouldn't be able to do anything to Murongyu. However, as a powerhouse of the younger generation who ranked 8th on the Dragon Phoenix list and was also Zhushenzong's chief disciple, he was definitely not simple. Killing one of Zhushenzong's successor candidates is not enough to severely injure Zhushenzong. But if I can kill Zhushenzong's chief disciple, how will Zhushenzong react? Murongyu's eyes flickered with murderous intent. He had already reached the body integration stage and possessed the power of 200 horned dragons. His strength was so strong that ordinary transformation stage cultivators were no match for him. With the help of various treasures, he might really be able to kill Ma Tianyun's chief disciple today. Murongyu's mind raced. After a few breaths, he made up his mind. Thus, he also soared into the sky and left Meteor City with Ma Tianyun. During this process, Murongyu made a series of arrangements through voice transmission. Zhushenzong's chief disciple wants to challenge Murongyu. The duel is about to take place outside the city. Murongyu has already accepted the challenge and is leaving Meteor City. Ma Tianyun is a super powerhouse ranked 8th on the Dragon Phoenix list. Can he kill Murongyu, who even Xuechun, who ranked 3rd on the Dragon Phoenix list, couldn't kill? I'm really looking forward to it. If Ma Tianyun kills Murongyu, does that mean he's stronger than Xuechun, who ranked 3rd on the Dragon Phoenix list? Whether he can kill Murongyu or not, this battle will definitely be very exciting. Murongyu has always been hunted down, but he always managed to escape. I wonder if he can escape alive this time? Didn't Murongyu rely on that spatial treasure of his? Without that spatial treasure, he's nothing. Someone sneered. For a moment, all kinds of discussions spread throughout Meteor City. Countless cultivators soared into the sky and flew out of the city. Whoosh! Murongyu, who was flying, suddenly disappeared. Seeing this, everyone was stunned at first, but then they burst into laughter. Murongyu must have run away. He ran away without a fight. Ma Tianyun is a super powerhouse ranked 8th on the Dragon Phoenix list. It's normal that Murongyu doesn't dare to fight. After all, Ma Tianyun came prepared. Murongyu must have felt that he has no chance of winning, so he can only run away. Just as these people were laughing, Murongyu soared into the sky from Meteor City again and flew out of the city. When these people saw Murongyu, they immediately shut their mouths. In the mountains, tens of thousands of miles away from Meteor City, Ma Tianyun stood on top of a mountain. He stood against the wind, looking like a person who had achieved the Tao. At this moment, Ma Tianyun was surrounded by countless cultivators. Every one of them came to watch the battle between Murongyu and Ma Tianyun. Murongyu descended from the sky and stood on top of another mountain, facing Ma Tianyun from afar. You've achieved so much after cultivating for only 10 years. Your talent is very good. If you're given enough time, you might be able to surpass me. However, you won't have that chance. Today is the day you die. As he looked at Murongyu, Ma Tianyun's expression remained cold and detached. Even his expression hadn't changed in the slightest. I killed your biological brother. Murongyu looked at Ma Tianyun, and a smile slowly appeared on his face as he suddenly said. Ma Tianyun's body shook. Two terrifying rays of light shot out from his eyes towards Murongyu. Waves of killing intent surged towards Murongyu like a torrent, wanting to suppress Murongyu to death. Murongyu sneered in his heart. Ma Tianyun's cold expression didn't even change. It was purely an act. When they met for the first time in Meteor City, Murongyu felt a monstrous killing intent and hatred for Ma Tianyun. Legend has it that Ma Tianyun loved his only brother, Ma Tiansheng, the most. When Ma Tiansheng was killed by Murongyu, he couldn't help but want to slap Murongyu to death. The hatred in his heart soared to the sky. How could he remain cold in front of Murongyu? Therefore, Murongyu's casual words destroyed the atmosphere that Ma Tianyun could create and broke his calm state of mind. After I killed Ma Tiansheng, I told him that I would reunite the two of you very soon. Today, I'll send you down to reunite with your brother. Murong sneered in his heart as he spoke. Arrogant and ignorant. Ma Tianyin sneered. He stretched out his hand and was about to attack. However, at this moment, waves of terrifying energy fluctuations came from afar. At the same time, waves of angry roars could be heard. UF * King Golden-Haired Gorilla. Today, your Lord Heavenly Dog will eat you. A rough voice could be heard. Following that, waves of terrifying energy fluctuations could be heard. Everyone was puzzled. Even Ma Tianyin couldn't help but turn his head to look. They saw two terrifying auras rushing over from the direction of Meteor City. In the void, two rays of light, one black and one golden, were flying over at high speed. During this process, they fought fiercely, and the terrifying power shattered the nearby void. Everywhere they passed, the mountains on the ground were directly flattened. You'd * MN dog. See if I don't beat you to death and eat your black dog meat. A thunderous voice could be heard. A huge ape with dazzling golden light was holding a golden rod that looked like a pillar that supported the heavens. It was filled with murderous intent as it struck out. Opposite the ape was a huge black dog that looked like a mountain. This huge black dog was surrounded by black gas. Waves of ferocious aura could be felt, shaking the heavens and earth. However, the most frightening thing was the attacking method of this huge black dog. With a swipe of its claws, the void shattered and the mountain was annihilated. However, this wasn't the most frightening thing. The most frightening thing was its huge dog mouth. It opened its huge mouth. With a crack, a huge piece of the void was bitten off. A huge hole instantly appeared in the originally fine void. It was extremely terrifying. These two demonic beasts of the demonic mountain are both powerful demonic beasts in the transformation stage. Seeing these two demonic beasts fighting fiercely, the expressions of the nearby cultivators changed drastically. It's this B** TCH with a foul mouth? Some of the cultivators in the crowd had seen the huge black dog in the immortal burial ground. Hearing the huge black dog's classic foul mouth, they immediately recognized the huge black dog's identity. These people immediately gritted their teeth at the huge black dog. After all, this huge black dog's mouth was really too foul. All of a sudden, many cultivators wanted to kill this huge black dog. However, no one dared to make a move against the huge black dog. After all, there was an old man by the huge black dog's side. That guy was pretending to be weak, and his strength was extremely terrifying. Perhaps that old guy was nearby. If someone made a move against the huge black dog, then that old guy might make a move. If they joined forces with the huge black dog, these people knew that they wouldn't be a match for them. Boom! The fire-eyed golden ape smashed down with its rod, smashing a mountain below into smithereens. Some cultivators who couldn't dodge in time were also smashed to death. However, the huge black dog was even more terrifying. The huge, ferocious dog opened its mouth and swallowed countless mountain peaks along with many cultivators. The ferocity of these two powerful demonic beasts caused the nearby cultivators to quickly retreat, afraid that they would be implicated. Meanwhile, these two demonic beasts that were fighting fiercely were quickly flying towards the direction of Murong and Ma Tianyin. Ma Tianyin's face instantly darkened. His killing intent flashed as he looked at the huge black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape that were flying towards him. However, he relied on his powerful strength and didn't leave. Instead, he continued to stand on the mountain peak. On the other hand, Murong, who was on the mountain peak opposite Ma Tianyin, had already taken out the void mirror. It floated above the void and sealed the void. Seeing this, Ma Tianyin snorted disdainfully. In his heart, he thought that Murong was a coward. Golden-furred ape, don't run. Your Lord Heavenly Dog is going to eat you. At this moment, the huge black dog was already near Ma Tianyin and Murong. He first roared loudly. Then he opened his mouth and bit down on the fire-eyed golden ape. Even Murong and Ma Tianyin were enveloped in his mouth. Chapter 269. A cold glint flashed across the large black dog's eyes. He suddenly turned his head and gave up on attacking the fire-eyed golden ape. Instead, he bit down viciously at Ma Tianyun. The large black dog did all of this very secretly. After all, he was chasing after the fire-eyed golden ape. Meanwhile, the fire-eyed golden ape was extremely close to Ma Tianyun. No one could tell if the large black dog's target was the fire-eyed golden ape or Ma Tianyun. He watched as the large black dog shattered the void with one bite, enveloping him, and bit down rapidly. As the person involved, Ma Tianyun's expression changed slightly. Then endless killing intent exploded in his heart. Not to mention whether the large black dog's target was him or not. Even if it wasn't him, Ma Tianyun would still be filled with killing intent. After all, no matter who it was, if they were attacked for no reason, they would be unhappy and retaliate. Hence, Ma Tianyun snorted coldly and retaliated. He stretched out his large hand and slapped upwards, facing the large black dog. He wanted to kill the large black dog with one slap. Damn dog, go to hell. At this moment, the fire-eyed golden ape roared and smashed his rod down viciously at the large black dog. However, in this process, the fire-eyed golden ape's golden rod suddenly turned and smashed directly at Ma Tianyun. The target of these two demonic beasts is me. Ma Tianyun was furious and finally reacted. Although he didn't know why these two demonic beasts wanted to kill him, he already had the intention to kill. He slapped out with his other hand and punched the fire-eyed golden ape's golden rod. Rumble. The two sides clashed in an instant, and a terrifying force erupted. Immediately, the space within 1,000 kilometers of the three of them, including the mountains, was pulverized by the terrifying force at the first moment. One side came prepared, while the other side came hastily. In addition, the fire-eyed golden ape and the large black dog were not weak. Hence, the large black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape were only sent flying. However, Ma Tianyun was also sent flying, spitting out blood from his mouth. Under the sneak attack of two powerful demonic beasts, even Ma Tianyun would be injured. However, he was only injured. Even with the strength of the large black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape, they were still unable to kill him. Ma Tianyun was infuriated. An endless amount of killing intent shot up into the sky. His killing intent spread across the entire area. It was extremely horrifying. At this moment, a strong sense of danger came from behind him. Ma Tianyun was shocked. The first thing he did was to send out a backhand slap. Boom! A terrifying power erupted, and a magic weapon that was sneakily attacking him was directly sent flying by him. However, Ma Tianyun also let out a miserable shriek. The huge hand that he had slapped out had actually disappeared in an instant. Ma Tianyun was getting more and more furious. With a jolt of power, the arm was shattered. Although he managed to send the magic weapon flying with a backhand slap, the strange power contained in the magic weapon also burned his arm into powder. Moreover, the terrifying power was quickly spreading to his body through his severed hand. If he didn't cut off his hand, his body would have been burned to ashes. With a thought, Ma Tianyun was about to teleport away from this place. But in the next moment, he was shocked to find that the void here had been sealed, and he could not teleport. Morong-yu! Ma Tianyun roared angrily, sealing the void. This was the void mirror's ability. Thinking back to when Morong-yu took out the void mirror, Ma Tianyun thought that Morong-yu was afraid of death. However, he didn't expect that Morong-yu was waiting for this moment. All of this was orchestrated by Morong-yu. The two demonic beasts were also arranged by Morong-yu. Their target was Ma Tianyun. Ma Tianyun was extremely furious. He roared angrily, and the aura on his body began to rise crazily. It was getting more and more terrifying. Ma Tianyun died. Morong-yu took out the Yin-Yang Cauldron again and charged towards Ma Tianyun. Just now, he had used the Yin-Yang Cauldron to sneak attack and destroy one of Ma Tianyun's hands. At the same time, the fire-eyed golden ape and the big black dog had already charged over. They unleashed their strongest attacks towards Ma Tianyun. Rumble, incomparably terrifying power continued to erupt. Murong Yu and the other two unleashed their strongest attacks as they crazily attacked Ma Tianyun. Ma Tianyun was indeed the chief disciple of Zhushenzong. He was a super expert ranked 8th on the Dragon Phoenix list. Even though he was already injured and was being attacked by Murong Yu and the other two, he was still very brave. His killing intense sword, and his body shone with divine light. A terrifying aura was constantly erupting from his body like a tidal wave. With every punch and kick he made, the void was constantly shattered. What's going on? Seeing the battle between the 4 cultivators before them, which caused the sky to fall and the earth to rend, the nearby cultivators were momentarily incapable of reacting. Murong Yu and the 2 demonic beasts are in cahoots. Murong Yu wants to kill Zhushenzong's chief disciple. Someone finally reacted. Murong Yu and the other 2 are quite strong. However, Ma Tianyun is even stronger. Although he's injured, Ma Tianyun is currently suppressing Murong Yu and the other 2. Murong Yu and the other 2 aren't even a match for him. How terrifying. That might not be the case. Murong Yu is extremely cunning and full of tricks. If he wasn't confident, why would he take such a big risk? Let's see. I believe we'll know the results soon. Bang! Murong Yu punched out and sent Ma Tianyun flying. However, he was also kicked by Ma Tianyun. A huge force came and Murong Yu was instantly sent flying. During this process, he even saw a few of his bones being broken. His physical body was already comparable to an immortal tool. However, a few of his bones were still broken. One could imagine how terrifying Ma Tianyun's strength was. If it weren't for the fire-eyed golden ape and the big black dog's help, Murong Yu would have been defeated long ago. However, even so, they weren't a match for Ma Tianyun. At this moment, the fire-eyed golden ape and the big black dog were roaring furiously as they fought with Ma Tianyun. However, if it weren't for their strong physical bodies, they would have been smashed into pieces. Today, Ma Tianyun must die. Murong Yu shouted in his heart. He activated the army formula and rushed forward again. Swish! A huge banner appeared above Murong Yu's head. Demonic chi was rolling and sinister. It was the soul-summoning banner that he took from Ma Tianyun. Ma Tianyun, this soul-summoning banner is your brother's treasure. He was killed by me, and his soul was devoured by the soul-summoning banner. Today, I'll send you to reunite with your brother. As he spoke, the soul-summoning banner was controlled by Murong Yu and started to shake quickly. Waves of energy rushed towards Ma Tianyun and tried to pull his soul out of his body. Ma Tianyun was shocked. When he raised his head and saw the soul-summoning banner, he was even more furious. Die! Ma Tianyun roared and punched out. The sky collapsed, and the earth cracked as he attacked Murong Yu. The terrifying energy exploded and the void was destroyed. Murong Yu sneered. He activated the army formula and instantly dodged Ma Tianyun's attack. After breaking through, Murong Yu's speed was comparable to teleportation. However, the void here was sealed and Ma Tianyun couldn't teleport. Although Ma Tianyun couldn't teleport, his speed wasn't slow. However, he couldn't be compared to Murong Yu. The soul-summoning banner's energy finally attacked Ma Tianyun's body. It started to pull at Ma Tianyun's soul, causing him to scream in pain. At the same time, the attacks of the big black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape were getting sharper. The soul-summoning banner and the yin-yang cauldron. When there was only the yin-yang cauldron, Ma Tianyun was already afraid of the yin-yang fire. Although he couldn't get the yin-yang cauldron close to him with his powerful strength, Ma Tianyun still had to expend a portion of his energy to deal with the yin-yang cauldron. Now, there was the soul-summoning banner. The power of the soul-summoning banner was even more terrifying than the yin-yang cauldron. Although the yin-yang fire was said to be able to burn the world, it was still a flame with a physical form. However, the power of the soul-summoning banner was formless and impossible to defend against. Once the soul-summoning banner was out, Ma Tianyun felt the pressure increase. Especially when the power of the soul-summoning banner kept attacking his soul, causing it to tremble and tremble. The soul was the foundation of a life. When a soul was attacked, Ma Tianyun's attacks, and even his strength were affected, especially when Murong Yu and the two beasts' attacks were still so sharp. Pung! The fire-eyed golden ape smashed his rod on Ma Tianyun's head. The terrifying power almost smashed Ma Tianyun's head into pieces. However, Ma Tianyun also had a powerful magic treasure on him that blocked off most of the attacks. Otherwise, his head would have been smashed by the fire-eyed golden ape's rod. Even so, Ma Tianyun was still heavily smashed deep into the ground. Ma Tianyun's head was buzzing, and he was in a daze. However, in this instant, Murong Yu, the big black dog, and even the fire-eyed golden ape took advantage of this opportunity to attack Ma Tianyun crazily. In just an instant, Murong Yu and the other two unleashed hundreds of thousands of attacks. Ma Tianyun roared furiously and was injured again. Ma Tianyun was very angry now and roared furiously. First, he was hit by the big black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape and suffered some minor injuries. Then, he was ambushed by Murong Yu and one of his hands was destroyed. Because of this, his strength had decreased by at least 30%. In order to avoid being killed by the yin-yang cauldron, he used a part of his strength to defend against the yin-yang cauldron. Finally, he used a part of his strength to defend against the soul-summoning banner's attack. Because of this, his strength had decreased by at least 50%. He was no match for Murong Yu and the other two. Great Vajra Wheel Seal. Murong Yu roared and unleashed a seal that was like a divine mountain towards Ma Tianyun. At the same time, he used all his strength to activate the soul-summoning banner and attacked Ma Tianyun crazily. The yin-yang cauldron chased after Ma Tianyun like a shadow, wanting to kill him. Chapter 270. Under the frenzied attacks of Murong Yu and his two beasts, coupled with the fact that the space was sealed, he was unable to teleport. In an instant, Ma Tianyun, the chief disciple of Zushenzong, was constantly in danger. Pung, pung, pung. Regardless of whether it was the attacks of a large black dog or the fire-eyed golden ape, they were all extremely ferocious. If Ma Tianyun was still alive, the attacks of the large black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape might not be able to hurt him. However, Ma Tianyun was already injured. Under the frenzied attacks of Murong Yu, the powerful attacks of the yin-yang cauldron and the soul-summoning banner, Ma Tianyun's strength was reduced by at least half. With only 50% of his peak strength, Ma Tianyun's strength was still extremely terrifying. If it were an ordinary expert in the transformation stage, they would not be able to get close to him at all. However, Murong Yu and the other two were not ordinary experts. Especially the large black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape, these two demonic beasts. They were existences at the level of demon kings. Not only were they powerful, but their physical bodies were also extremely terrifying. With a swipe of their claws, the sky fell and the earth cracked. They slapped Ma Tiancheng's body, almost breaking his bones. The fire-eyed golden ape's golden rod was even more powerful. It was like a divine mountain as it slammed onto Ma Tianyun's body, causing him to suffer unspeakably. If Ma Tianyun did not have a treasure on him to protect his body would have long been smashed into pieces by the large black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape. This son of AB*TCH. Is he wearing a layer of turtle skin? Why is he so difficult to fight? In the battle, the large black dog cursed repeatedly. He was extremely unhappy. Although Ma Tianyun was already being suppressed by them, his body was still enveloped by a layer of faint green light. It was this layer of faint green light that blocked most of their attacks, preventing them from killing Ma Tianyun. However, under the attacks of Murong Yu and the other two, this layer of faint green light was quickly fading. It was probably unable to hold on. As expected, not long after, the fire-eyed golden ape slammed his rod down. With a pung, the layer of green light that enveloped Ma Tianyun's body was completely shattered. With his protective treasures shattered, Ma Tianyun immediately cried out in pain. Unlike the other experts, Ma Tianyun did not have many powerful treasures, such as immortal tools, because he did not need them. With his strength, he could walk freely in the cultivation world. If he encountered those powerful enemies, he would not be a match for them. Even if he had a powerful magical weapon, it would be useless. Therefore, other than a protective celestial artifact, he did not have any other powerful celestial artifacts. Under normal circumstances, even if Murong Yu had the Yin-Yang Cauldron and the Soul Summoning Banner, the three of them would not be Ma Tianyun's match. In the end, they would be killed by Ma Tianyun. However, Murong Yu launched a sneak attack. He first cut off one of Ma Tianyun's arms and cut off a portion of his cultivation. Thus, he used the Soul Summoning Banner and the Yin-Yang Cauldron to suppress another portion of his power. Most importantly, the three of them were extremely violent, preventing Ma Tianyun from leaving the sealed space of the Void Mirror. In the end, it led to this scene where Ma Tianyun was suppressed by Murong Yu and the other two. Ma Tianyun, don't think of resisting. Today, I will send you to reunite with your brother. Murong Yu laughed coldly. One after another, the great Vajra wheel seals were unleashed. Whether it was Murong Yu's attack, the big black dog's attack, or the fire-eyed golden ape's attack, none of them could kill Ma Tianyun. What Ma Tianyun was worried about were the Yin-Yang Cauldron and the Soul Summoning Banner. In particular, the Soul Summoning Banner kept tugging at his soul, causing it to tremble. Ma Tianyun almost collapsed. Try your best to kill him in the shortest time possible, Murong Yu shouted. He stopped attacking and started to activate the Soul Summoning Banner with all his might. On the other side, the big black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape were even more ferocious. Their power spread out. The heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. The earth trembled and the sky shook. The battle between the two men and the two beasts was extremely terrifying. It caused the heavens and earth to collapse and shatter. It could be said to be earth-shattering. However, their battle was not as shocking as the spectators in the distance. At this moment, all the cultivators were watching the battle in front of them. They were already shocked, especially when they saw Ma Tianyun being suppressed by Murong Yu and the other two. They couldn't help but be dumbfounded. Ma Tianyun was a super existence ranked 8th on the Dragon Phoenix list after all. Yet, he couldn't even withstand a single blow. Although Murong Yu had relied on a sneak attack to gain this advantage, it was still Murong Yu's strength after all. Looks like Ma Tianyun will suffer a tragedy today, someone said. Ma Tianyun is a super expert ranked 8th on the Dragon Phoenix list. Although he is being suppressed now, he must have some tricks up his sleeve. Who knows, Murong Yu might have been killed by them instead. Ma Tianyun will definitely die, someone said with certainty. Definitely die? Someone sneered. Ma Tianyun is the chief disciple of one of the top 10 sects, Zushinzong. Not only is he strong, but his status is also very high. How can he be killed so easily? From the looks of it, does Ma Tianyun still have some trump cards? Someone said in a low voice. In the distance, Ma Tianyun was in a very sorry state. His whole body was covered in blood. He had been killed even more miserably. However, this guy was indeed a super expert of the younger generation. He was still alive after being killed for so long. Even though Murong Yu had used the Soul Summoning Banner, he still couldn't kill him. One could imagine how powerful Ma Tianyun's soul was. The more powerful one was, the more powerful one's soul would be. However, no matter how powerful one's soul was, it would still be attacked by the Soul Summoning Banner. The more powerful one's soul was, the more it could withstand the attacks of the Soul Summoning Banner. However, if the Soul Summoning Banner kept attacking, no matter how powerful one's soul was, he would definitely die. Unless Ma Tianyun ran away. However, from the looks of it, Murong Yu had already trapped him. Today, all of you must die. All of you must die. Ma Tianyun roared furiously. Light shot up into the sky from his body. He was extremely angry. UF** King Dog. You are about to die, yet you still have so much nonsense to say. Later, your Lord Heavenly Dog will swallow you. The big black dog roared furiously. He slapped Ma Tianyun's head with his dog paw, almost shattering Ma Tianyun's head. Ma Tianyun was furious. You beast! I will kill you first. As he spoke, Ma Tianyun ignored the attacks of the fiery golden ape and Murongyu. He charged straight at the big black dog. The big black dog wasn't afraid at all. He barked furiously and turned into a ray of black light. He charged forward and started a fight with Ma Tianyun. Your Lord Heavenly Dog didn't show my power, and you treated me like a sick cat. You King pretty boy, see if I don't slap you to death. The big black dog spat out vulgarities as he used both his hands and feet. He fought with Ma Tianyun very fiercely. At this moment, Murongyu was a little anxious. This battle had already taken a very long time. It had already alarmed many experts in the vicinity. More and more experts were coming over. If they still couldn't kill Ma Tianyun and someone intervened and Ma Tianyun escaped, then all their efforts would be wasted. We have to kill Ma Tianyun as soon as possible. We can only reveal a part of our strength. Murongyu gritted his teeth and transmitted a message. All members of the primal chaos, listen up. Ma Tianyun is in danger. If Zushinzong doesn't have any experts here, he will definitely die today. Seeing that Ma Tianyun's injuries were getting worse and worse, the cultivators in the distance all shook their heads. They felt that Ma Tianyun might be killed today. Murongyu is very strong. He even used a sneak attack to injure Ma Tianyun. However, he only injured him. Killing him? That's impossible. An old cultivator said calmly. You seem to be very sure? Someone nearby came over and asked. The old cultivator smiled faintly. Don't you know about Tao protectors? For super experts of a younger generation and cultivators with heavenly talents, their sects will send a Tao protector to protect them. With Ma Tianyun's strength and status, his Tao protector must be very powerful. Now that Ma Tianyun is severely injured, if I'm not wrong, it's time for his Tao protector to make a move. Tao protector? The surrounding people were confused. They had never heard of such a thing. They were also doubtful of the old cultivator's words. Enough. This matter ends here. Not long after the old cultivator finished speaking, a faint and old voice sounded in this area. At the same time, a huge hand suddenly reached out from the nine heavens. It covered the sky and brought with it a terrifying aura as it slapped down on Murongyu and the other two. It's finally here. Murongyu's eyes shone brightly. The one who made a move was definitely Ma Tianyun's Tao protector. He was at least a first-step immortal. Such an expert could kill Murongyu with a single slap. The only thing Murongyu could do now was to give up on killing Ma Tianyun and run away immediately. Otherwise, he would be killed by Ma Tianyun's Tao protector. However, although Murongyu's expression changed slightly, he did not have any thoughts of running away, let alone fear. At this moment, Ma Tianyun's eyes shone brightly. He knew that his Tao protector had made a move. He knew that his Tao protector would make a move at the critical moment. Therefore, even though he was almost killed by Murongyu and the other two, he did not run away or fear. It was because he was confident in his Tao protector's strength. Today, all of you will die. Ma Tianyun sneered. The aura on his body began to surge. It was as if his Tao protector's appearance had increased his strength. It's too early for you to be happy. Even if your father's Tao protector makes a move, he won't be able to save your life. Murongyu sneered. Ma Tianyun was disdainful. Boom! The moment that huge hand appeared, another huge hand appeared in the distant sky. It traversed through the void and blocked Ma Tianyun's Tao protector's huge hand. You're courting death. Ma Tianyun's Tao protector was enraged. He slapped down and clashed with the huge hand that suddenly appeared. Even half of the sky was shattered. Haha, this is a game for the younger generation. Us old guys don't have to get involved. A loud laugh could be heard. Another huge hand stretched out from the crowd and clashed with Ma Tianyun's Tao protector's huge hand. Seeing this, Ma Tianyun was shocked. Murongyu was also surprised. However, there was more to come. Chapter 271. Bang! The void shattered and a terrifying aura was released, shaking the heavens and earth. A huge hand suddenly emerged from a void and attacked Ma Tianyun's Tao protector. This was the third protector to attack. The other three protectors attacked Ma Tianyun's protector. Obviously, these people wanted Ma Tianyun dead. Ma Tianyun was Zushenzong's first disciple. He was very powerful and ranked third on the Dragon Phoenix list. Unless those old monsters attacked, there were very few people in the younger generation who could kill an expert of this level. However, during normal times, the experts from the various sects could not make a move. Otherwise, if they were discovered, it would definitely cause a war between the two sections. When that happened, the entire cultivation world would be in a bloodbath. Although they could not attack, they did not want to see the disciples of the other sects grow. Therefore, when they saw that Murong-yu might be able to kill Ma Tianyun, they immediately took action. They did not kill Ma Tianyun directly. They did not even interfere with the battle between Murong-yu and Ma Tianyun. They only needed to stop Ma Tianyun's protector temporarily, so that he could not save Ma Tianyun in time. When that happened, Ma Tianyun's death would have nothing to do with them. Moreover, even if Zushenzong was furious, he would only find trouble with Murong-yu. Therefore, when the first protector made a move to stop him, the other protectors followed suit. You're all courting death. Are you trying to start a war between Zushenzong and you? Ma Tianyun's protector was furious. He roared and wanted to break through the blockade to save Ma Tianyun. Haha, what are you talking about? We just want to catch up with you. We don't want to get involved in the fight between the young people. One of the protectors laughed loudly. His attacks were very fierce. His palms and punches could shatter the heavens and earth. It seemed like he was not just trying to stop Ma Tianyun. It seemed like he wanted to kill this protector. After all, the strength of a Dao protector was one of the best in the sect. If he were to kill this Dao protector and Zushenzong's chief disciple, then Zushenzong would be severely injured. This was exactly what they wanted to see. Trampling other sects under their feet was their favorite thing to do. Ma Tianyun's protector roared furiously as he tried to increase his strength. However, he was stopped by the protectors of the younger generation experts from the other sections. He was unable to break through their blockade and could only wait anxiously. At this moment, on the other side of the battlefield, Ma Tianyun was also roaring furiously. When he saw that someone was trying to stop his Dao protector from attacking, he had a bad feeling. It was obvious that these people wanted him dead today. In addition to Murong-yu, there might also be experts of the younger generation like Shueqian in the crowd. Although these people didn't seem to have any grudges, they wouldn't mind stabbing Ma Tianyun in the back if they had the chance. If Murong-yu couldn't kill him, then those experts of the younger generation would definitely attack. After all, today was the best chance to kill Ma Tianyun. If they missed this chance, it would be impossible to kill Ma Tianyun. Ma Tianyun was naturally aware of the danger he was in. He roared furiously as he continuously increased his strength. He wanted to break through Murong-yu and the other two's blockade and escape. However, the Yin-Yang Cauldron and the Soul Summoning Banner made him very wary. He couldn't unleash more strength, so he couldn't escape from Murong-yu and the other two's attacks. However, at this moment, Murong-yu and the other two were also in a sorry state. Murong-yu was still alright. Because of the Tree of Life, no matter what injuries he suffered, he would recover in the shortest time possible and return to his peak condition. However, the big black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape were covered in blood from the attacks. The two of them had very strong bodies, but they were still injured, with ghastly wounds appearing on their bodies. One could imagine how terrifying Ma Tianyun's strength was. This was only because Ma Tianyun could only unleash half of his strength. If he could unleash his full strength, Murong-yu and the other two wouldn't be his match. However, Murong-yu's meticulously planned sneak attack had doomed him today. Murong-yu controlled the Yin-Yang Cauldron and suppressed Ma Tianyun, forcing him to retreat. At the same time, a crack suddenly appeared in the void above their heads. A hand the size of a mountain extended out of thin air. Terrifying power surged out like a tidal wave, shattering everything within a radius of several thousand kilometers. Even the sky collapsed from the pressure. Ma Tianyun died. Murong-yu roared. In an instant, the giant hand that appeared out of thin air swiftly pressed down on Ma Tianyun with frightening might. Ma Tianyun was taken aback. His face revealed a horrified expression. At this moment, a strong sense of death rose from the bottom of his heart. He knew that if he couldn't block this hand, he would only die today. Bang! The huge hand quickly pressed down, and the terrifying power actually shattered the void mirror that had been suspended in the void above their heads. Ma Tianyun roared. At this moment, he completely gave up on fighting against the soul-summoning banner and the yin-yang cauldron. He raised his strength to the limit and attacked the hand that was pressing down from the sky. Bang! The strength of both sides collided violently. Ma Tianyun's full strength couldn't even withstand a single blow. Before it could even hit the hand, it was already shattered by the boundless pressure from the hand. With a whoosh, the hand slammed down quickly with a destructive pressure. Ma Tianyun roared. His body shook, and he disappeared from his original spot with a teleport. Rumble. After an earth-shattering sound, the hand slammed down. However, Ma Tianyun was able to escape from this place in an instant. Although the hand's pressure was terrifying, Ma Tianyun could still teleport without the void mirror sealing the void. However, although Ma Tianyun managed to teleport away immediately, he didn't have a good time. The moment he teleported, the terrifying power that erupted from the giant hand smashed half of his body into smithereens. It even forced him out of the void. Bang! The fire-eyed golden ape rushed forward and crippled Ma Tianyun with a single strike. At the same time, the big black dog's paw slammed down on Ma Tianyun's head, smashing half of his head. However, even so, Ma Tianyun wasn't dead yet. Murongyu's face was cold. He used the army formula and rushed forward. He grabbed the soul-summoning banner with both hands and shook it rapidly. Streaks of demonic chi and sinister energy were released and attacked Ma Tianyun. Half of his body was smashed, but half of his head was smashed. Although Ma Tianyun wasn't dead, he was severely injured. Facing Murongyu and the others, he didn't have the strength to fight back. With a shake of the soul-summoning banner, Ma Tianyun's soul was pulled out of his body. Ma Tianyun was dead. At the same time, on the other side, Ma Tianyun's protector was fighting with all his might and finally broke through the blockade of the other protectors. However, at this moment, he saw Ma Tianyun's corpse falling from the void. Swoosh! 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 Seeing that Ma Tianyun was already dead, the protectors of the various sects who had tried to stop them withdrew their attacks at the same time. They wanted to kill Ma Tianyun, but they also wanted Murongyu to die. Now that Ma Tianyun was dead, they naturally wouldn't continue to stop Ma Tianyun's protector. They even hoped that Ma Tianyun's protector would kill Murongyu. After all, Murongyu's rise was too fast. He was even more terrifying than Ma Tianyun. Murongyu, you deserve to die. Ma Tianyun's protector roared angrily and disappeared from the spot. At the same time, a terrifying giant hand appeared above Murongyu and the others. It slammed down like lightning, wanting to kill Murongyu and the other two. Let's go. Murongyu's expression changed drastically. He grabbed the big black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape with each hand and rushed into the Hichu Luoshu world. During this process, Murongyu didn't forget to condense a giant hand with his energy to take Ma Tianyun's storage ring. Even if you escape to the ends of the earth, I will kill you. Ma Tianyun's protector was furious. He slammed out his giant hand and shattered the void. He directly reached into the void and chased after Murongyu. Murongyu's reaction was fast enough. After killing Ma Tianyun, he immediately entered the Hichu Luoshu world. In the world of Hitu and Luoshu, the void cracked, and three phantoms rushed in quickly. Behind them, there was a huge hand that followed closely. Bang! 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 The Hichu Luoshu world instantly closed and cut off the giant hand of Ma Tianyun's protector. Even so, the giant hand still hit Murongyu and the other two. Pooh! The three of them spat out blood and were sent flying like cotton wool. Murongyu didn't dare to hesitate. With a thought, they left the meteor shower city. The strength of Ma Tianyun's protector was too terrifying. He was actually able to enter the Hichu Luoshu world and injure Morongyu and the other two. If the Hichu Luoshu world didn't close immediately and cut off the giant hand of Ma Tianyun's protector, Morongyu and the other two would have been killed by him. Even the Hichu Luoshu could have been seized. From this, it could be seen that the Hichu Luoshu world wasn't the safest place. As long as the enemy was strong enough, they could still enter the Hichu Luoshu world. Unable to kill Morongyu and the other two, Ma Tianyun's protector roared angrily. After collecting Ma Tianyun's corpse, he left the meteor shower city. You guys are good. Very good. I will definitely return today's matter tenfold or 100-fold. As he left, Ma Tianyun's protector gritted his teeth and said, his target was naturally the protectors who tried to stop him. Zushenzong's chief disciple was killed. Morongyu had really broken the heavens this time. Chapter 272. The chief disciple of the Void Sky sect had been killed by a mere body integration stage cultivator in front of everyone's eyes, even with the help of his sect protector. When this news spread throughout the cultivation world in a short period of time, everyone was shocked and felt that the cultivation world was about to change. This change was ruined by Morongyu. They didn't want to use it at all. Almost everyone could imagine the fury of the Void Sky sect. What kind of person was the chief disciple? He was one of the strongest cultivators in the younger generation of the sect, and one of the successors of the next sect master. Ma Tianyun was the strongest cultivator in the younger generation of Zushenzong. If there were no accidents, once Zhuangning Guang stepped down from the position of sect master, he would immediately take the position and become the sect master of Zushenzong. It could be said that Ma Tianyun was the next sect master. Moreover, Ma Tianyun was talented. Even if he didn't take over the position of sect master, he was still the most likely person in Zushenzong to ascend and become an immortal. This was the common wish of all cultivators in the cultivation world. As a cultivator, who didn't want to ascend and become an immortal, enter the legendary immortal world? However, it was extremely difficult to ascend. In fact, for hundreds of thousands of years, no one in the cultivation world was able to ascend. In Zushenzong's opinion, Ma Tianyun was very likely to ascend. Soon, he would be the first immortal in Zushenzong to ascend in hundreds of thousands of years. The difference between an immortal and a half-step immortal was huge. If someone could ascend, then the sect would naturally rise in status. Moreover, with someone in the immortal world, Zushenzong would become more and more powerful in the future and obtain more and more resources. In the future, there would be more and more immortals ascending. This was the so-called when a man achieves the Tao, even his chickens and dogs ascend to the heavens. Even if Ma Tianyun couldn't ascend, he would definitely become a half-step immortal. As long as he became a half-step immortal, he would be able to protect Zushenzong for hundreds of thousands of years. However, all of this burst like a bubble. When Ma Tianyun was killed, it burst. Zushenzong was furious. Countless experts, and even the older generation experts, left their sects and began to search for Morongyu in the cultivation world. Once they found Morongyu, they would kill him. Morongyu had betrayed Zushenzong and even killed Zushenzong's holy son candidate. None of this would make Zushenzong angry. After all, as one of the top 10 sects, Zushenzong had hundreds of thousands of disciples. The death of a successor candidate would not cause them any loss. However, the death of Ma Tianyun, the head disciple, had infuriated Zushenzong. Not only had they lost a young expert, but they had also been slapped in the face by Morongyu. Morongyu had killed their chief disciple with the help of his sect protector. How is this any different from slapping the Void Sky sect's face? The flames of fury soared to the heavens. The flames of fury burned the 9 heavens. Morongyu had to die. Morongyu had to bear Zushenzong's fury. If Morongyu could not bear Zushenzong's fury, then he would be burned to ashes by Zushenzong's fury. Morongyu relied on tricks to kill Ma Tianyun. His strength was not very strong. However, Zhushenzong did not underestimate him. This time, many of Zhushenzong's half-immortals and even first-step immortals had left their sects in order to find Murongyu. As for Zhushenzong's cultivators of other realms, they covered the sky and covered the earth as they searched for Murongyu in the cultivation world. However, what made people feel strange was that this time, Zhushenzong did not put Murongyu on the wanted list in the cultivation world. In the past, he and Yuan Su sect had put Murongyu on the wanted list. However, in the end, nothing was done. According to some people's speculations, this time, Zhushenzong had mobilized all of his forces. Even if they did not put out a wanted list, they would still be able to find Murongyu. Murongyu had to die. Moreover, he had to die at the hands of Zhushenzong. Zhushenzong's fury had shaken the entire cultivation world. As for Murongyu, he had once again shocked the world. A body integration stage cultivator who dared to and had the ability to kill Zhushenzong's chief disciple. Was this person arrogant, or did he have absolute confidence in himself? No matter what Murongyu's intentions were, he had pierced through the heavens. In a short time, he was remembered by the world once again. Not to mention Zhushenzong's fury and the shock of the world. That day, after Murongyu killed Ma Tianyun, he immediately rushed into the Hichu Luoshu world. However, Murongyu never expected Ma Tianyun's guardian to be so powerful. With a slap of his hand, he actually followed Murongyu into the Hichu Luoshu world. With a slap of his hand, Murongyu, the big black dog, and the fire-eyed golden ape were all severely injured. They all spat out blood. If the Hichu Luoshu world had not cut off Ma Tianyun's guardian's hand the moment it closed, Murongyu and the other two would have been killed. Bang! 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 3 figures suddenly fell from the sky. It was as if a divine mountain had descended from the heavens. The ground shook violently. 3 bottomless pits appeared on the ground. After a long time, this F***er, Lord Heavenly Dog, was almost killed. The big black dog's curses came from the depths of the ground. Then the big black dog slowly climbed up from the ground. However, at this moment, the large black dog was in an extremely sorry state. Its originally glossy black dog fur was now dull and dull. In fact, many parts of its fur had even fallen off, revealing numerous ghastly wounds that were still dripping with dog blood. When he climbed up, the big black dog was still pouting. It was obvious that one of his legs had been broken. F***ck, this is a big loss. My leg is broken, and my bones are broken. Sigh. The big black dog spat out a mouthful of turbid air and lay on the ground. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. He really did not have the strength to move. F***ck. Not long after, a curse came from another deep pit. Then, the fire-eyed golden ape's figure also appeared on the ground. However, like the big black dog, the fire-eyed golden ape was not much better. His entire body was covered with wounds that were so deep that bones could be seen. Who knew how many of his bones were broken? Damn dog, you're not dead yet? The fire-eyed golden ape glanced at the dead dog lying on the ground and could not help but laugh loudly. Woof! F***ck. How can your Lord Heavenly Dog die so easily? You should hurry up and die. Let your Lord Heavenly Dog eat you. Perhaps it can heal my injuries. Damn dog, do you believe that I will beat you to death with a single strike of my staff? The fire-eyed golden ape said furiously. Woof! Your Lord Heavenly Dog does not believe. Beat me to death if you can. The big black dog acted shamelessly. Anger appeared in the fire-eyed golden ape's eyes. Then he also lay on the ground helplessly. Now, not to mention beating the big black dog to death. Even moving was extremely difficult, let alone picking up that golden staff that was as heavy as a divine mountain. The 2 demonic king-level existences were now lying on the ground like dead dogs. They could not even move. They were severely injured. I wonder how my lord is doing, the fire-eyed golden ape suddenly said. Lord Heavenly Dog has almost been beaten to death. Murong brat, that small body, is probably already dead, the Heavenly Dog said with a grimace. It was not that he was looking down on Murongyu. In truth, their physical bodies were really much stronger than Murongyu's. Even their physical bodies had almost been beaten into mush. What more Murong Yu? Big Black Dog, I'm afraid I have to disappoint you. I'm completely fine. The big black dog had not finished speaking when Murong Yu's voice was heard. The big black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape were shocked. From Murong Yu's voice, it seemed that he had not suffered any injuries. In their shock, they turned their heads with difficulty to look at Murong Yu. However, all they saw was Murong Yu looking at them energetically with a smile on his face. He didn't seem injured at all. This is impossible, right? The big black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape were immediately stunned. How is it possible that Murong Yu is not injured? One had to know that although Ma Tianyun's guardian's palm strike had been shared between the three of them, Murong Yu's injuries were definitely much more serious than theirs. However, in just half a day, Murong Yu seemed to be completely fine. Was he fine, or was his recovery ability really amazing? Murong Yu's injuries were much more serious than the big black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape. This was what they had seen with their own eyes. But now, Murong Yu looked completely unscathed. This could only mean one thing. Murong Yu's recovery ability was truly frightening. In reality, it was just as the big black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape thought. Murong Yu was indeed severely injured, much more seriously than the two of them. When Ma Tianyun's guardian's palm strike landed on him, Murong Yu's physical body that had almost reached the level of a celestial tool was almost smashed into mush. All the bones in his body were instantly shattered. If it was an ordinary person, they would have been smashed into ashes. However, Murong Yu's physical body was extremely strong, comparable to a celestial tool. Of course, if Murong Yu had taken the full blow of Ma Tianyun's guardian, he would have been smashed to death. This time, he was lucky not to die, and it was because the Hichu Luoshu had cut off his opponent's power in time. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unimaginable. However, the Tree of Life's terrifying recovery ability was displayed. After being blasted into the Hichu Luoshu world, Murong Yu was like a pile of mud, unable to move at all. His entire physical body had been smashed into mush. However, in just half a day, under the Tree of Life's recovery, his physical body had recovered to its peak condition. Furthermore, after recovering, his physical body had improved a step and was even stronger than before. He was also one step closer to the level of a celestial tool. Murong Yu was also shocked by the Tree of Life's terrifying recovery ability. However, when he thought about how the Tree of Life was the first life that was born in the world, Murong Yu was not surprised. As long as he had the Tree of Life, he was almost immortal. However, Ma Tianyun's guardian should be a super expert of the half-step immortal level. For such an expert to be Ma Tianyun's guardian, one could imagine how much importance Zushinzong placed on Ma Tianyun. Moreover, Murong Yu was able to kill Ma Tianyun right under the nose of an half-step immortal. It cannot be said that he was really lucky. Chapter 273. Murong Yu placed one hand on each of the large black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape. Countless leaves on the Tree of Life in his dantian began to tremble, and streaks of green life force were continuously emitted. They overflowed from Murong Yu's dantian and surged into the large black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape through his meridians. Life force was the #1 power in the world, and it had an extremely terrifying recovery ability. At this moment, the large black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape were shocked to discover that after the life force entered their bodies, their physical bodies, meridians, and bones were rapidly recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. After half a day, their broken bones, meridians, and physical bodies had been completely recovered. What kind of power is this? Seeing that their physical bodies were already intact, the large black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape were shocked. The stronger the physical body, the harder it was to recover after being injured. They were very clear about this. Originally, with their injuries this time, even with their strength, they would most likely need half a year to recover to their peak. However, they did not expect that with the help of Murong Yu's life force, they would recover in less than half a day. Furthermore, they seem to have improved. This cannot help but shock them. With such a terrifying recovery ability, he's almost an unkillable existence. Amidst their shock, this thought appeared in the minds of the fire-eyed golden ape and the fire-eyed golden ape. Unless Murong was smashed into smithereens by someone, or his strength was exhausted, Murong was an unkillable existence. Of course, if the opponent's strength was too strong, Murong would still die. Just like Ma Tianyun's Path Protector. Although Murong life force was very terrifying, once he faced this elite, Murong would probably be smashed to death with a single slap. Even his Tree of Life might be smashed to pieces. The fire-eyed golden ape and the large black dog looked at Murong in shock, and their emotions were complicated. Especially the fire-eyed golden ape. At this moment, it was somewhat happy. Originally, it had followed Murong because Murong had brought it out of the extreme heaven realm and saved its life. Murong's strength was not enough to make the fire-eyed golden ape willingly stay by his side. However, when it saw Murong's life force, the fire-eyed golden ape's mentality changed slightly. Using a scheme to kill an expert who was much stronger than him, this showed Murong's wisdom. Moreover, with this life force, as long as Murong was careful and did not die midway, it was very likely that he would be able to ascend. The immortal world was the dreamland of all cultivators, be it human cultivators or demon cultivators. Their goal was to ascend to the immortal realm and become immortals. Not only did immortals possess greater power, they also possessed longer lifespans. Great power and a long lifespan were the ultimate goals that all cultivators pursued. Perhaps if I follow Master, I'll be able to ascend to the immortal world in the future and roam freely in the immortal world. The fire-eyed golden ape thought to himself. However, it didn't realize that this time it called out Lord so smoothly. As for the big black dog on the other side, it only barked a few times. It had seen existences at the level of a mortal emperor before. Although it was surprised by the current Murong, it was not to the extent that it was like the fire-eyed golden ape. After dealing with the injuries of the fire-eyed golden ape and the big black dog, Murong retracted his hand. Although his strength was strong, it was very difficult to win this battle. He relied on sneak attacks, various treasures, the help of the big black dog and the fire-eyed golden ape, and his full strength. However, even so, he was still no match for Ma Tianyun. If it wasn't for the fact that the sneak attack caused Ma Tianyun's cultivation to drop by a lot, coupled with the effects of the soul-summoning banner and the Yin Yang Cauldron, Murong wouldn't be his match at all. It could even be said that if it wasn't for the Yin Yang Cauldron and the soul-summoning banner, Murong might not have been able to kill Ma Tianyun. Although treasures were also a reflection of one's strength, Murong's strength was still too weak. In fact, it wasn't Murong's strength that killed Ma Tianyun. The huge hand that appeared at the end was the strength of all the members of the primal chaos. It was that palm that almost killed Ma Tianyun. In the end, he was killed by Murong and the other two. The strength of 100,000 people. If they all gather together, even a first-step immortal can be killed. It's just that it's too difficult. Murong muttered. The combined strength of 100,000 members of the primal chaos was extremely terrifying. However, it was extremely difficult to control. Otherwise, Murong could have used their strength to kill Ma Tianyun right from the start. The fight wouldn't have ended up in such a miserable state. However, it's really lucky to be able to kill Ma Tianyun. Murong sighed and said, experts of the younger generation from big sects like Ma Tianyun would always have a Tao protector by their side. These protectors were either half-immortals, first-step immortals, or half-step immortals. Their only mission was to protect these geniuses. They couldn't let them die. Usually, under normal circumstances, as long as these geniuses weren't in danger, their protectors wouldn't intervene. Moreover, fighting was the best way to train a person. Fighting was also the best way to increase one's strength. Therefore, even though Ma Tianyun was brutally killed by Murong and the other two, his protectors wouldn't intervene unless his life was in danger. Only when Ma Tianyun's life was in danger would the protectors intervene. Originally, it was the right time for the protectors to intervene. They could have protected Ma Tianyun's life. However, they didn't expect other protectors to intervene. It was their intervention that led to Ma Tianyun's death. It'll be difficult to kill these geniuses in the future, unless you can kill them in one hit. Morongyu shook his head and said, if he couldn't kill the person in one strike, then the person's protector would try to save the person, or even kill him instead. Unless it was like what happened with Ma Tianyun, where other protectors intervened. However, Morongyu only managed to kill Ma Tianyun because he ambushed him first. It was basically impossible for him to repeat the same old trick. Unless my strength continues to increase and I can kill them in one hit, I won't be able to kill these geniuses in the future. Morongyu nodded his head regretfully. This guy seemed to be addicted to killing these geniuses. I'm afraid that the Void Sky Sect's fury has already ignited the entire cultivation world. If I were to appear in the outside world right now, I'm afraid I'll be hunted down by the Void Sky Sect's experts. Morongyu pondered for a moment and decided not to appear in the cultivation world for the time being. After checking Ma Tianyun's storage ring, Morongyu was surprised to find that Ma Tianyun was indeed Zushenzong's head disciple. There were many spiritual veins in there. There were even spiritual veins of grade 7 and grade 8. Grade 9 spiritual veins were simply too rare. Even Ma Tianyun couldn't possibly have them. Apart from that, there were also many other heavenly treasures that allowed Morongyu to make a small fortune. In the following time, Morongyu didn't leave Hichu Luoshu. After all, I'm still not strong enough. My battle techniques are also lacking. If he wasn't strong enough, he wouldn't be able to activate his various treasures. He wouldn't be able to unleash more power. Even the Yin-Yang Cauldron and the Chinquan Bao could only unleash a billionth of their power. If he was stronger, he would be able to activate the powers of these treasures. Then, he would be able to easily kill an expert of Ma Tianyun's level. As for Morongyu, he didn't know many battle techniques. He shouldn't bite off more than he could chew. Because of this, Morongyu didn't cultivate more battle techniques. The Dragon Elephant Prajna technique, the Great Vajra Chakra Seal, and the Tiger's Roar Emperor Fist. These battle techniques weren't ordinary techniques. The power of the Great Vajra Chakra Seal was needless to say. It was the corresponding seal of the 9 words mantra's soldier formula. When cultivated to the great accomplishment stage, its power would be terrifying. The Dragon Elephant Prajna technique wasn't an ordinary technique. Especially the Dark Demon Prajna technique, its power was terrifying. What surprised Morongyu was the Tiger Roar Emperor Fist. This set of battle techniques was obtained by Morongyu from Murong's family. Many people in Murong's family had cultivated this technique before. Originally, he thought that this set of battle techniques was just an ordinary technique. At this moment, as his strength increased, the power of this set of battle techniques would become more terrifying every time he used it. First roar to shock, second roar to overturn the lake and sea, third roar to destroy the sky. This was the Tiger Roar Emperor Fist. Could it be that after cultivating it to the great accomplishment stage, he could destroy the sky with a single punch? Originally, Morongyu only laughed when he saw this chant. But now, he felt that this set of battle techniques wasn't simple. It might really have the power to destroy the sky. 2 sets of battle techniques, 1 seal, and many treasures. This was enough for Morongyu to dominate the world. As long as he was strong enough, he would be invincible even if he didn't need any battle techniques. Golden Ape, are you sure the master of the extreme heaven realm is asleep? Morongyu, the large black dog, and the fire-eyed golden ape stood together. Morongyu and the large black dog looked at the fire-eyed golden ape. The fire-eyed golden ape nodded affirmatively. Usually, at this time, the master of the extreme heaven realm would be asleep again. This year is different from the past. Morongyu muttered. The large black dog glared at the fire-eyed golden ape. Golden-haired ape, if anything happens, don't blame me for eating you. The fire-eyed golden ape was also worried. It wasn't sure if the master of the extreme heaven realm was asleep again. If he wasn't asleep, they would be discovered as soon as they entered the extreme heaven realm. At that time, the master of the extreme heaven realm would slap them, and the three of them would definitely die. The master of the extreme heaven realm was much stronger than Ma Tian Yun's Tao Protector. Once you find something wrong, enter the Hichu Luoshu immediately and leave the extreme heaven realm. No matter how strong the master of the extreme heaven realm is, he won't be able to do anything to us. Let's go and collect that 9th grade spirit vein first. As they spoke, Murong Yu and the other two figures flashed and appeared in the underground cave near the 9th grade spirit vein in the extreme heaven realm. Boom! Just as they appeared, a large hand appeared out of thin air. It carried a terrifying power that enveloped the three of them and slapped down quickly. Chapter 274. That F** King Bastard Sneak attacked Lord Heavenly Dog. Murong Yu, the big black dog, and the fire-eyed golden ape had just appeared in the Kar's cave, preparing to collect the 9th grade spirit vein. However, they didn't expect to be ambushed as soon as they appeared. The huge hand covered the sky and earth, and the power it released was extremely terrifying, crushing the entire underground. Boom! The entire underground Kar's cave instantly collapsed, and that huge hand, with the terrifying power to destroy heaven and earth, slapped down on Murong Yu and the others at lightning speed. Murong Yu and the others were instantly shocked. As for the large black dog, he immediately cursed out loud. Almost at the same time, Murong Yu and the others instantly raised their power to the limit, and a swift and violent attack blasted out. Murong Yu's fist soared into the sky, and the big black dog's dog paw expanded against the wind, colliding with the huge hand that was slapping down. As for the fire-eyed golden ape, it roared furiously, raised the golden rod with both hands, and smashed it out fiercely. Boom! After a shocking loud sound, under the attack of Murong Yu and the others, that huge hand that was slapping down was directly shattered. The terrifying power exploded, and instantly the ground within a radius of a few thousand miles was also shattered into pieces. A dull, low roar sounded, and a middle-aged man, not far in front of Murong Yu and the others, was sent flying like a ray of light. This was a demon king that had already transformed and was extremely powerful. Demon beasts, after cultivating to the highest realm, could transform into human form. Generally speaking, as long as they reached the spirit-severing realm, they could transform into human form. However, not all demon beasts were like that. Some demon beasts, no matter how powerful they were, could not transform. Moreover, some demon beasts with extremely powerful bloodlines, such as ancient mutated beasts, also found it extremely difficult to transform. Just like the fire-eyed golden ape, this guy was already a demon king, but he had not transformed. However, there was another situation among demon beasts. The descendants of some powerful demon beasts could transform even when they had no power. For example, an immortal emperor-level demon expert. Once his child was born, he would be able to transform. No matter what, demon beasts that could transform were all powerful beings. The middle-aged man in front of him should be considered an expert among the demon kings. Motherf **, you dare to sneak attack your Lord Tengu? You really don't know what's good for you. The heavenly hound was enraged. It cursed as it transformed into a streak of black light and charged forward. With a crunch, the big black dog opened its mouth and bit down viciously at the middle-aged demon king. On the other side, the fire-eyed golden ape was also furious. It had previously said that the master of the extreme heaven realm had fallen into a deep slumber, so it should be fine to enter the extreme heaven realm now. However, before he could finish his sentence, the demon king had already launched a sneak attack on him. How could he endure this? With a furious roar, it charged forward with its staff in hand and struck the demon king. Fire-eyed golden ape, it really is you, you bastard. You actually ran away. Do you know how many people you've killed? The middle-aged man looked at the fire-eyed golden ape, his eyes spitting fire. He gritted his teeth and looked like he wanted to swallow the fire-eyed golden ape alive. It was no wonder that he was so angry and gnashing his teeth. This time, the fire-eyed golden ape was brought away by Murongyu from the extreme heaven realm. This made the awakened extreme heaven realm master furious. The rage of the extreme heaven realm master was definitely a disaster for the extreme heaven realm. Many demon beasts suffered an unexpected calamity. In fact, hundreds of demon kings were even eaten alive by the extreme heaven realm master. One of the demon kings was the elder brother of this middle-aged demon king. Hundreds of demon kings were eaten, and countless demon beasts were killed by the furious extreme heaven realm master. The extreme heaven realm could be said to have suffered heavy losses. This was especially true for the demon kings, who had killed countless powerful demon beasts. It should be known that although the extreme heaven realm master had been awakening every 100 years, he would eat a demon king every time he woke up. In this way, the extreme heaven realm would only have one less demon king every 100 years. For the vast extreme heaven realm, where demon beasts were as numerous as the sand in the Ganges River, one less demon king every 100 years was insignificant. However, the escape of the fire-eyed golden ape this time caused the extreme heaven realm to lose hundreds of demon kings in a day. Hundreds of demon kings being eaten was definitely a huge disaster for the extreme heaven realm, even though these demon kings were not related to most of the other demon kings. However, these hundreds of demon kings, if it was in the past, it would be enough for the extreme heaven realm master to eat for tens of thousands of years. After tens of thousands of years, perhaps some demon kings would have died from exhaustion. Moreover, the more demon kings there were, the lower the chances of them being eaten. Now that hundreds of demon kings were gone, the chances of them being eaten increased greatly. Therefore, all the demon kings in the extreme heaven realm hated the fire-eyed golden ape. The main culprit was the fire-eyed golden ape. If it had not escaped at the crucial moment, the extreme heaven realm would not have suffered such a disaster. However, what shocked the demon kings was how the fire-eyed golden ape was able to escape from the extreme heaven realm. Could it be that it had a secret method to leave the extreme heaven realm? All of a sudden, countless demon kings who hated the fire-eyed golden ape wanted nothing more than to find the fire-eyed golden ape and force it to tell them how to leave the extreme heaven realm so that they could also leave this terrifying place. After all, no one wanted to be bound to the same place forever. No one wanted to die. In reality, although the extreme heaven realm was a mystery realm, it was like a world. It was vast and boundless, just like the cultivation world outside. However, the demon kings who lived here were always on tenterhooks. It would be fine if they were killed in battle, but the key was that they did not know when they would be eaten by the extreme heaven realm master. This was the most terrifying thing. F***CK. How did you know he would appear there? The large black dog asked as he slapped down with his paw, shattering a tall mountain. Haha, fire-eyed golden ape, all of you deserve to die. You actually dare to appear in the extreme heaven realm. You still don't know, right? All the demon kings in the extreme heaven realm want to kill you. I've already spread the news of your appearance. I believe they will rush over soon. The middle-aged man laughed loudly as he fought with the heavenly dog and fire-eyed golden ape. You're courting death. The fire-eyed golden ape roared angrily. The golden rod in his hand was like a pillar that supported the heavens, and it was swung around vigorously, causing heaven and earth to shatter. Murongyu did not make a move. Although the middle-aged man was powerful, he was only on par with the large black dog and fire-eyed golden ape. Now that the large black dog and fire-eyed golden ape had joined forces, it was only a matter of time before he was killed. Golden ape, how many demon kings are there in the extreme heaven realm? Murongyu asked casually. The extreme heaven realm is incomparably vast. I'm not sure exactly how many demon kings there are, but there are estimated to be thousands of demon kings nearby. The fire-eyed golden ape sent the middle-aged man flying with a strike of his rod and said at the same time, thousands of demon kings. Even Murongyu could not help but change his expression slightly. The demon kings in the cultivation world were actually the transformation stage of human cultivators. However, everyone knew that at the same level, demon beast experts were slightly stronger than human cultivators. Those who could be called demon kings were at least human cultivators in the middle transformation stage. Thousands of demon kings equivalent to cultivators in the middle transformation stage were definitely much stronger than human cultivators in the middle transformation stage. If they attacked at the same time, Murong Yu shook his head. It was impossible for the three of them to be a match for so many demon kings. They could only release 100,000 members of the Chaos. However, the members of the Chaos were only cultivators in the early transformation stage. If they fought with these powerful demon kings, they would definitely be injured. Losing even one would be a huge loss. Murong Yu did not want any of the members of the Chaos to die. You two quickly kill them. After taking this rank, 9 spirit vein, we'll leave this place quickly. You still want to leave? It's too late. The middle-aged man laughed loudly. He attacked the fire-eyed golden ape wildly, as if he was crazy. He actually did not defend and only attacked. Murong Yu shook his head. If the three of them wanted to leave the extreme heaven realm, the demon kings of the extreme heaven realm could not stop them at all, unless there was an extremely powerful existence among the demon kings. Although he did not understand how this demon king knew that he would appear here, Murong Yu thought that it was just a coincidence. After all, this was the headquarters of the chaos in the extreme heaven realm. As long as one had the intention, they would be able to discover the underground Kars cave here. Moreover, Murong Yu had left arrays in many places in the extreme heaven realm. He could instantly appear in other places. Because of their battle, the terrifying power had already shattered the ground within a radius of thousands of miles. The rank, 9 spirit vein that was originally hidden deep in the ground had also revealed itself. A large hand reached out and grabbed the huge spirit vein. Sensing Murong Yu's intention, the rank, 9 spirit vein that was originally like a river began to churn violently. It wanted to escape Murong Yu's seal and suppression. However, although the rank, 9 spirit vein's power was strong, Murong Yu's strength was not weak either. When the power exploded, the rank, 9 spirit vein could not resist at all. It could only struggle continuously and quickly shrink. In the end, it was sealed by Murong Yu and kept in the Hichu Luoshu world. Die. At the same time, the fire-eyed golden ape roared and smashed the middle-aged man's head with his rod. The middle-aged man's head was smashed into pieces. Woof! The big black dog barked unhappily. He opened his mouth and directly swallowed the demon king into his stomach. Let's go. Murong Yu soared into the sky and rushed into the depths of the extreme heaven realm. The fire-eyed golden ape walked up and said worriedly, "My lord, those demon kings must have rushed over by now. If we go on like this, won't we collide with them? What are you afraid of? I'll eat one if one comes. If you're afraid of death, you can go back by yourself." After eating a demon king, the big black dog felt good. He walked over and looked at the fire-eyed golden ape with his dog eyes. The fire-eyed golden ape was furious. "How am I afraid? Kaka, fire-eyed golden ape, you're really here." At this moment, a sinister voice sounded. At the same time, a large hand reached out from the ground. It passed through billions of space and time and directly grabbed the fire-eyed golden ape. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.